locations. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. You're tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what it means. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Show on the radio, the top's where we gonna go, Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
On the morning show, Big O, no one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk...
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set.
The viewing statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Oh, right. Miami. Yeah, baby. Oh, today is, I swear it's orgasmic. I am loving life. Oh, Lordy. And it's not because I'm right. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with the fact that not Schefter, not Pelissero, not Barry Jackson, not anyone in the media understood what was going on in that building. That has nothing to do with it. I don't care about that. I am glad I'm right, of course, because our Miami Dolphins are going to get better from all of this. Okay? That's the thing. That's the thing you got to love, is that our Miami Dolphins are going to get better of this, and they're going to find their GM. The GM is now going to find the head coach that they need in order to get it done. This is a great day for Dolphin fans, man. This is a fantastic day for Dolphin fans because they got rid of the guy that was the problem. And as we've been telling you for months now, okay, as the only media member on the effing planet that told you that Brian Flores was walking around like Matt Patricia, that he was walking around like Josh McDaniels, that he was not getting along with people, that the relationship, did I not say last week at one point to one of our insiders, go check it out, that relationship with Chris and Flo, it's not the same it was. Does Flo believe at all in Tua? No, he never did. Never. You cannot build a team with someone that does not believe in what you're doing and is meddling in what you're doing on a consistent basis. And that's why Brian Flores is out the hell of the door. Okay? And let me tell you something. Go look at the way he met Belichick at the middle of the field. He knew his ass was on the hot seat. He knew that he was out the door because that was like a hug. Hey, Bill, yeah, nice. Hey, don't forget I worked for you, all right? So I may need another job soon. I was laughing my ass off. Who was it that tweeted out yesterday something about that, oh, if Brian Flores gets fired, he'll get rehired right away. And I go, yeah, just like Adam Gase. You know what I mean? The only thing is the Adam Gase thing became more obvious in the public. This was more behind the scenes, and most people did not know what was going on behind the scenes because they don't talk to anybody. Okay? That's the thing. Nobody here in town talks to Chris Greer or Brian Flores. Nobody. Understand that. Listen to me. Nobody. Adam Schefter doesn't talk to Chris Greer or Brian Flores. Tom Pelissero doesn't do it either. Mike Garofolo doesn't do it either. Okay? Any insider you want, none of them have access to the top. That's the bottom line. Ross doesn't talk to them. He hasn't talked in years. And these other guys, they don't talk to him. Everybody just talks a lot of crap and throws it one way or the other. That's all it is. They're all guessing. None of them know what Brian Flores is thinking or wanting or doing or nothing. They don't know what Chris Greer is thinking, wanting, or doing. That's just the way it is. And this has been in the works for a while. This has come to a head for a while. And it's just, listen, man, sometimes you have to reassess your information. Okay? And at first, the problem that we have, and I tried to explain this over the last couple of weeks, and this is why I was telling you change Brian Flores in the middle of a win streak, because I don't ever want to be the guy that, you know, it's typical of the media and it's typical of the fans to then, you know, you respond when it's happening. That's when your emotions come in. And then that's the obvious one, right? Because it's so obvious right now that Herbert is superior to Tua, right? That's the way it's viewed to people. Why? Because he's putting up more of the flash numbers, right? And physically, obviously, he has tools that he was blessed with, a trait that Tua does not have physically. But that's how it is. It's a prisoner of the moment thing. And how many times have I mentioned that prisoner of the moment thing? And this rah bullshit that you guys think, oh, well, he won 7 games. So no, he went 1-7. Okay. And he started slow before. And this is the MO for him. And that's the problem, that you get caught up in the prisoner of the moment thing. Oh, well, no, he won 7 in a row. He must be a really good coach. No, he's not actually. It's just that players are professionals and they work and they try because they have pride. You think Christian Wilkins is not going to try because of flow or no flow? You think Mike Gesicki is going to try because of flow or no flow? You think Waddle's going to try because of flow or no flow? You think Tua's going to try because of flow or no flow? You think Robert Hunt is going to try because of flow or no flow? Get the hell out of here, dude. That's an insult to every one of those men. They play hard because that's what they're paid to do. Last night, the Raiders could have tied, taken the safe route. Don't risk a field goal. Don't get it blocked, get it returned, whatever. No, man. They went for the win. Because in human nature, these guys, see, the problem is you guys don't get to walk into locker rooms. These guys take dominoes serious. They want to win at anything. And the fact that you think, oh, well, yeah, they're going to just lay down because you say so. Because they're going to lay down and go get a better draft pick. You know, that's the problem that we have in this world. We have this, we're completely out of touch at times. And in this situation, we were completely, not a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people were completely out of touch. And they didn't really understand what was going on with Flo and the meddling that he did and how much he hurt the team in the process. He was as much a detriment to his team as he was help. There are certain things that I was going to talk about today because I wasn't sure if this was going to happen today or not. And this changes a little bit, but some of the topics that I wanted to explain and talked about with you guys. And by the way, before I get into it, because they'll disappear. Alan D, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, you called it Big O. Those beat writers and a few fans need to eat some crow this week in good fun. Of course, it's all good fun. But to me, the bottom line is the Dolphins need to get better, and this is how they're going to get better. And then remember what my second part of this equation is. You fire Flo and you hire a Caldwell Del Rio type, not Harbaugh. Harbaugh's not coming. Something like that can build staffs, okay? Jason Romero, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, Big O, you called it. Greer and Marino believed into you can see it in Marino's fatherly talk. Flores didn't, and that was the disconnect. No, there's a lot more than that, bro. It's a lot more than that. A lot more. It's going to come out. Didn't I say that? I say, hey, you guys, I told all of our insiders, you guys need to dig. Fine. Try to find some stuff. It's all going to come out now. It's all going to come out, the meddling and all that. Those players, a lot of them didn't even like the dude. Nizzle, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, you called it. Oh, I'm glad Flo is out. Greer can pick players. Who's the best head coach candidate in your opinion? Okay, so remember I told you a Del Rio, a Jim Caldwell type, an older veteran coach, none of this young up-and-coming crap, none of that anymore. Go get yourself a veteran coach. Go get guys that have a deep-ass Rolodex and can build one staff after another. And that's what you need. You need a experienced coach that's comfortable in his skin, that knows how to delegate responsibilities to good coaches and allows those good coaches to make the decisions. Okay? That's what needs to happen. You cannot have somebody that is constantly micromanaging every single position and side of the football. If you do that, then you hired the wrong coaches. Comprende? Because that's how it allows the coach to be a head coach. But if you're going to spend your time constantly fixing everything because you think you know everything from personnel to coaching, then you're not a head coach. Frankie Fresco, again, thank you. God, you guys are awesome coming in with a lot of super chats. Appreciate you, man. What do you think Omar Kelly will say? Well, we will have him. Now, normally it's at 10:30, but I talked to Omar, and because of the breaking news, he's got to write his story, and then he'll join us when he's done. I told him, hey, man, take your time. It's all right. You know, I got so much to say today. You know, today I got so much to say that I can talk for 3 straight hours if I wanted to today. Okay, I can just go off right now today and talk for 3 straight hours. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't need lazy radio like they have at QAM where they repeat segments and repeat interviews and a half hour of commercials and promotions and updates and lazy ass radio and talk about the one subject the entire time, you know, that kind of stuff. I can go off and talk about all kinds of things right now if I wanted to. And there's a lot of stuff now I already know that I'm going to end up leaving out because of this breaking story. But that's what you got to hire. You got to hire an experienced coach. Man, I'm so excited about this. You have no idea how excited I am about this. I was nervous. I was really nervous because if you kept flow, then we lose everybody the following year. And I don't want to lose the personnel department. The personnel department now has to hire a coach that doesn't meddle that much in personnel anymore. He can have a suggestion, but he's not going to determine what gets on to the roster. Can't do that anymore. The meddling has hurt the team and set them back many, many times over. And I don't know if the specific examples will come out from them. I doubt it, but I'll give you some of those nuggets along the way as time goes on. Oh man, there's one flow bomb that I could drop that would explode the nation. The Dolphin world would explode in a flow bomb that I know, but I can't say it. So, you know what I mean? But that flow bomb, oh Lordy, that flow bomb, man. But anyway, so look, in the end, I'm going to, and I was going to talk about this in the pretense of it before it all happened, but now that it has happened, and Frankie Fresco, thank you again. Last night, Waddle was at Sports Grill Miami Lakes. Yep, I tweeted out the picture. It's there on my social media pages. Waddle at Miami Lakes. So anyway, and Philippo, thank you also on the super chat. He says, "Big O credit. You're the only one who called it." Well, thank you. Now, here's the thing. Here's where we got to, this is where I got to look at it, and I'm going to show you something, and perspective is always important in all of this, okay? Jimmy Johnson was a failure for the Miami Dolphins, okay? Forget about the Canes, forget about Dallas. He was a failure here in Miami. He did a nice job, a great job of leaving a defense, but he was a failure. He never made them special. Now, do you know why Jimmy Johnson was a failure and he never made him special? Because Jimmy Johnson's ego got in the way. And his ego, when he got in, he wanted to trade Marino. And Huizenga would have none of that. And he said, no, can't trade Marino. So then what does Jimmy do instead? He trades away Irving Fryer. He gets rid of Byers and Kirby. And he also gets rid of the audible system where Marino could change plays. And why? Because, of course, Jimmy's ego would not allow, that to stay there, right? Because, oh, no, Jan's going to change my plays and my offensive coordinator and that kind of stuff. So he didn't want to deal with that. So he gave him a check with me system, which means you have this pass play and it's tied to this run play. So if you don't like that pass play, you can then decide to run this play here. You're not running another pass play or anything else. You're running either or. That's what a check with me system is. So he limited Marino. So he hurt himself in the process as a coach because he did not maximize the offense and he was building a defense. What a concept, it just, you could have kept it going and maybe it would have worked out. Irving Fryer, by the way, had 2 Pro Bowl seasons for the Eagles after he left Miami. which he could have had the 2 Pro Bowl seasons for Marino and our Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? But Jimmy's decision, okay? So in the end, Jimmy was a detriment to the team to a certain extent, right? Because while he made some really nice selections on defense, he effed it all up on offense with Jarris McFailure and John Dutton and, what's it called? Trading for Jim Druckenmiller and, it just all the things that went on during Jimmy's tenure that just like things that were a disaster on offense. Okay. So now we have Flo. Well, Flo doesn't believe in Tua. Okay. So because you don't believe in Tua, you don't know how to build around him. You can't build an offense. And if you don't believe in the player, as I told you yesterday, it's like having a child and not telling your child you love him or her, not giving him or her a hug, not supporting them in their endeavors in life. How do you think that child's going to grow up? Adopt a dog, buy a dog, but then you feed it and throw it in a corner and never pay attention to it, never say hi to it, never pet it, never give it a hug. How do you think that dog's going to grow up? So if you don't love something and nurture it, it's not going to grow the same way, and you're not going to make a connection with it. And so Flo has been that guy that has walked in and said everything is his way or the highway. And because he went against the front office on the Tua selection, and because he refused to believe in Tua and not build around him, he created an environment that set him up for failure. His inability to get a real quarterbacks coach, his inability to get an offensive line coach or keep a good one if he had one, or keep a good offensive coordinator if he had one, has been a sticking point. And sure enough, in year 4, don't you think that conversation was already had over the last month with him? And he's thinking, yeah, no, we're going to have to change coaches again. Well, then you think that sets them up? And then you start to add the reputation that's getting around the league that he is difficult to deal with. And I've been telling you this for months now, that he's difficult to deal with. And he doesn't get along with people in that building. And that's been the misconception out there. There's some of you think that he had a stranglehold of the players and they're playing hard for him and all that crap. He was more of a detriment than a help. Last week was a great example. I am not a believer that Duke Johnson can be an every down running back every week. Okay? I believe this was the sun shining on a dog's ass every once in a while because he's a professional football player and things went well for him. But guess what? Brian Flores does not realize when there's a hot hand, milk the hot hand. And even I, that was not a believer of Duke Johnson, said, keep giving him the ball. And yet last week against Tennessee, in a rain, terrible condition type day, you chose to give Duke Johnson the ball only 7 times. You chose not to run the ball with at least what looks like your best option to create more manageable downs for your quarterback. And you chose not to. Those are examples, and they happen all year long. You don't play Mike Gesicki enough. You're not creative enough to find ways to get him on the field. He's a talent. Matt Collins just makes plays, never plays enough. Just there are things that go on with him that you cannot explain. Eric Flowers is no longer needed after they signed him. And I tried to tell, some of our beat guys, some of you out there, because you don't believe it. You think the general manager wants to sign Eric Flowers and Kyle Van Noy and then cut him the next year and take the cap hits? Come on, dude. That's the head coach putting the general manager in a terrible position. And in the end, you put your team in a terrible position because now you kept Austin Jackson at left guard when you could have had at least Eric Flowers, who is not an all-pro, but damn, it's better than anything you have right now. And Eric Flowers could help out Dieter and could help out Eichenberg because at least he's experienced. And hell, he even played Eichenberg's position. The examples are endless why Flo was a detriment to the team more than a help to the team. And I kept putting out those examples all throughout the year. Is Jakeem Grant not here because of him? Because now you had no returner after that. So in the end, it's as I told you guys, you look, and if you, by the way, if you go look at Jakeem's stats, he averages just over one fumble a season. But so was it a Flo thing? Flo, Kenny Stills is a harmless human being. He's always been a good dude. Whatever you think of him as a receiver, consistency, whatever, that's a whole different ballgame. He had a difference with that guy. Minka, you think the front office wants to draft Minka and then have the head coach not get along with the guy to the point that the guy wants to leave? And now they got to go find Javon Holland. These are things that continue to happen that at one point or another, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. And I give Chris Greer and Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen and Stephen Ross a ton of credit because they were smart enough to look around and say, we have something that is screwing up this whole thing on a consistent basis. And unfortunately, we've got to make a change. Because this is the only thing that goes against the grain on a continuous basis. And he doesn't even have the power to get out of this position because he can't hire the coaching staff. And as I've told you for months, if you're a head coach that can't build a coaching staff, you are useless. I have no use for you. None. Okay? None. And in the end, that's really what it's all about with Brian Flores. He can't build a staff. So if you can't build a competent staff and you're not good enough, because nobody in the world is going to be good enough to make up for everything. You just can't coach every position. And you're in the middle of a game and now you've got to also take out the call sheets because you've got to overlook what the hell they're doing because you don't trust them. It's because you hired the wrong staff. You hired a whole bunch of guys. Whoever comes in as the next coach, I guarantee you, I don't think he keeps more than one or two of these guys that are on this staff. And there might be quality control coaches that they keep, like the lower ring guys. This is a staff that's not like it's going to be picked apart by other teams or anything like that. This is one of the worst coaching staffs ever put together in the history of the Miami Dolphins. That's how bad it is. Kenneth Cleveland says he's live from the Boom Boom Room. The lovely ladies, Hallie, Selma, Sophia, Paige, Charlize, and Beyonce says we should try to hire Tony Dungy. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Tony Dungy's retired, my brother. He's not going to be doing any of that, my brother. That ship sailed years ago already. That's not a good call. But I appreciate the love in the super chat, my man. And tell Hallie hi. Manuel Malo, thank you, sir. A little love in the super chat. He says, you called it Big O. All credit goes to you. And now the national media is ripping the Dolphins left and right. Well, because they don't have the insight. Okay? That's why. They don't have the insight. Rob Manx, your top coaching candidates for the Dolphins. I told you guys already. It's going to be it's going to be what's it called? A Jim Caldwell, a Jack Del Rio type, somebody like that. Okay. A veteran coach that doesn't have this ego that he's got to be a what's that called? An egomaniac controlling everything in sight. So a coach that'll work with the front office and yet has the experience to build a staff. Okay. How would you feel about Kellen Moore? I don't. I don't want Kellen Moore. I'm done with first-time coaches. I want an experienced older coach that knows how to delegate and can call the game itself and allow the offensive and defensive coordinators to do their thing. So I don't want a Kellen Moore. I'm tired of the unproven coach. So appreciate you, Bamboozle, but I'm not going in that. Personally, for me, I'm not going in that direction if I'm the Miami Dolphins. AH360 says a lot of people that love Tua also love Flo, but Flo didn't like Tua. So how does that work in these people's heads? I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit. Whatever demons you guys live with, and you want to cry every day that you don't have Justin Herbert and all that. You know what I want to do? I want to cry me a couple of offensive linemen for Tua. I want to get me a grizzled offensive line coach that knows how to build an offensive line. I want to get me a running game. I want to punch people in the mouth and then give Tua the time he needs, and everything will work out. I get it, man. Some of you want style points and all that stuff. I'm not looking for style points. I'm looking to win. And with this kid, they can win, but you got to build it right. And unfortunately, the coach you have does not know how to build it. Jason Vaccaro, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. He says, do you think Watson talk dies now? Hell no, dude. Watson talk will live. Now, I don't know. We'll see if it comes from the Dolphins. It might have been more of a flow thing, pushing the whole Watson thing. I don't know, but hey, Sean, did somebody say for months that not everybody was on the Watson bandwagon in the building? I don't know. I'm wondering, was there a radio host somewhere? Or I guess, digital radio host somewhere saying that, Sean? Do you know of anybody that was saying that? I'm just wondering. Oh, me? Okay. All right. Dougie Fresh says Ross is worth $10 billion. He knows you can't get half of it right and be successful. No school gives you an A for 50% on the test. Cam, Flow, Ego. There you go. Frankie Fresco, thank you, sir, again. He's active today. Holy crap. He says, do you think Marino had a say in this too? I don't think so. What I think is Marino had an opinion. Okay. I don't think Marino's making any calls, but I think Dan's the guy that walks around like the Godfather, and they pull him into the room and, hey, Dan, look, man, we're thinking about this. What do you think? Okay. Although I'm going to say something here that, I don't have insight on it, but I'm kind of like the flow thing that I saw it all play out in front of your eyes, and I kept giving you a play-by-play throughout the season with Flo. Here's where I'm going to go on the Marino thing, and I'm going to include my buddy Joe Rose, because today I went to I got in the car and I listened to Joe, and clearly I can tell this. I can tell clearly Joe Rose has no contact with Chris Greer, because I've never seen Joe go after a general manager ever that's in place. After they leave, yes, he slams them. But I've never seen him go. Now, I know he's retiring at the end of the year. I don't know if he's retiring also from the Dolphins. That part I don't know. So I know he's about to retire from QAM, and he's leaving that shithole. But you can tell that he and Chris don't talk, because he goes after Chris like crazy. Okay? I mean, he goes after him hard. So, and he never did that with any other GM that's ever been in place. After they leave, that's a whole different ballgame. And he's Marino's buddy. So if Marino had a say, you wonder if he would have told Joe, and Joe would have taken another approach on the air, because he would have known a little bit. But it looks like he doesn't know, because he took an incredibly aggressive approach against Chris Greer. He's more Brian Flores than he is Chris Greer from what I heard this morning. That's what it seems like to me. I don't listen to him every day, but, because I'm usually in my house preparing. I'm not listening to the show. But in listening to him this morning, sounds like it that, so I wonder about that if Marino really had any say, because you'd figure he'd tell Joe, yeah, no, this ain't good with Flo. You see what I'm saying? So watching or listening to Joe's reaction, that tells me that Marino doesn't tell him anything on that, or Marino didn't make a call or anything, didn't know about it. Okay? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Joseph Placetti, thank you, sir. Love on the super chat. He says, way to go, Mr. Ross. This needed to be done. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. You can put your comments there. I'll read them there because we get the whole donation there, okay? And don't forget, please smash the hell out of the like button. Very, very important today. You smash the hell out of the like button. Let's crush this bitch. Let's get this over 1,000. Dan Muller, aren't you out of work? Big O, what about Eric Bieniemy for OC for KC? For head coach, you mean? No, don't want him. I don't want any more new coaches, bro. I want an old, grizzled, veteran head coach. That's what I want. I don't want any more unproven head coaches. I don't know how many times I have to repeat this. Okay? So you got to first go get your head coach. Don't want it to be a young guy. Devin Jordan says, Big O, they should have cleaned house. Well, that's your opinion. You and I will respectfully disagree with you, Devin. All right. I'm a personnel guy. I'm good with Chris. I'm good with Reggie, and I'm good with Marvin. I think we got 3 excellent personnel guys. I think they screwed up in the coach. They screwed up in the coach, and I'm really proud of them that they had the balls to correct the problem. That is awesome. That assures me that the Dolphins are going to get back on track and head in the right direction. I wasn't going to be very positive about next season if you brought back Flo. I can warn you about that ahead of time, and I think you were already getting that feeling from me. Okay? I was not going to enjoy this with Flo. Not at all. Are you surprised on the fire? Do you listen to this show, Kyle? I appreciate the super chat, but I'm the guy that wanted him fired, dude. I'm not. I kept saying, Chris Greer, you want to save your job next year? Fire him now. So no, I'm not. I'm really happy. Juice F5. Thank you, sir. Love on the super chat. Appreciate it. Let me see, what else do we have here? Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo, by the way, if you want to make the donation. Donnie Urig, thank you, sir, on Venmo. He says, great call, Big O, about Flores. You're the best, my man. Love your show. Duck Dog out in New Jersey. Thank you, Duck Dog. Appreciate you. Big O, when do a guy comes from the Sun Sentinel, you told him Flo? Oh, you talk about Omar will be on soon. He'll be on at some time today. It's not just Omar, it's everybody, dude. Don't start with that. Everybody in the media. Everyone in the media. Okay? Nobody knew this. Nobody. At all. So don't think that it's just an Omar thing or Allen or anybody else. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody. Nobody ever imagined that this would be happening. Okay? So that's really what it's all about. I'm the only guy that kind of saw through the trees and kind of pointed out that the obvious problem is Flo. And if people don't see it, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but that's the problem. So not surprised, but it's a national thing. That's all. It's everybody. Nobody saw this coming. I don't know why I'm the only one that saw what the hell was going on with this team and why one dude was the problem. So now it's time to get the guy that will create synergy, and you can move on and everybody's on the same page. You cannot get from point A to point Z if everybody's not in the same page, and that's clearly what was happening here. Flo No Mo, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. He says Flo lost his job in London getting out coached by Urban Dumpster Fire. You're right. When stanky fingers can outcoach you, that's bad. You're right about that. How about the Colts yesterday? That's got to be the worst. How do you lose that game and lose the opportunity? Oh, God. Damn. Alan Deese, thank you, sir. Love on the super chat. He says, has there been a coach to survive the hot seat? Bringing Flores next year would have been the same old Dolphins. You, sir, are an intelligent, common sense fan. That's the best part, Alan, about this whole thing. Every time, right, I would ask a media member or a fan, okay, so you would bring him back. So what makes you think he's going to build a staff? Nobody ever had an answer. Nobody could ever give me a competent answer. No one. Not any of you, not anybody in the media. Do you know why? There wasn't one. Because deep down inside, I just told somebody this on Twitter. I've been doing this for over 30 years now, okay? And I'm the guy that's going to tell you what you don't want to hear. But deep down inside, more often than not, you're going to go, damn, I know he's right. Damn, I know he's right. I don't want to believe it. Oh, he's just being negative. No, I'm not being negative, dude. Nobody loves the Heat or the Dolphins or the Panthers or the Marlins or Inter Miami or the Canes more than I do. But that's not going to stop me from telling you what I see. You know what I mean? And that's what this show does, unfortunately, for some. A lot of people enjoy the honesty. They'd rather hear it. But there are some of you out there that don't want to hear it because you're such homers. Look, NorCal. I got nothing but love for NorCal. NorCal's like a brother of mine. Okay? We've known each other long enough now and all that if he lived next to my house, I know he and I would be hanging out all the freaking time, So he's a perfect example. He wanted Flo back. And when I asked him, how do you think he's going to build a staff? He had no answer for it because there's no answer for it. And if you're sitting there in the front office and if you're a media member or if you're a fan, you have to ask yourself that same question. And if you can't build a staff, how can you be a head coach? How? You can't. Roberto Rivero, thank you. Appreciate you. On the super chat, he says, thanks. Being so fast means more that Harbaugh in already spoken for or just the bad blood inside the team was that bad. Good call, Big O. No, there's no Harbaugh in the mix. It's not a Harbaugh thing. Thank God, by the way. Oh my God. I don't want Jim Harbaugh here. James Spazinokov. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. And I'm sorry I butchered your name. Let me see. Saposnivkov. I don't know. Jamie Saposnivkov. Anyway, would Eric Bieniemy be a good candidate for the Finns? Maybe, maybe not. In my eyes, I don't want to go in that direction. No more unproven coaches. So, Jamie, for me personally, I don't want to see that. Justin Shelb, thank you for the love on the super chat. Big O, we got rid of Flo, which is fine, but Greer's clock does not start over. It should be playoffs or bust for him next year. There's no doubt that this team has got to improve next year with whatever coach they add. Irv Gillum, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, you called it and was the only one. No one can take your crown when it comes to Miami sports radio. That's, very kind. Too kind, but appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, on Venmo, thank you for the love on Venmo. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Steve M says, can you explain the difference between a QB like Tua, who needs help around him to win, and a QB like Tannehill also needs help around him to win, it seems like a fine line versus someone like Brady who makes people around him better. Very good. First of all right, I'll get to Ohio John, who's next on Venmo there. All right, Steve M, it's pretty simple and complex. All right, so Lamar Jackson needs help because he's not a great passer. So you commit to the run for him, okay? So you design an offense where you're strong on the offensive line, you're strong at tight end with multiple tight ends because the highest percentage passes are to your running backs and your tight ends. The more you go to the outside, the more risk there is. So that's why you're not going to do a lot of the outside stuff. You're going to even do crossing routes with him a lot. If you notice with Lamar Jackson, he doesn't throw the whole route tree because he can't. Can he make some pretty good throws? Yeah, because he's an athlete. And that's what you've learned even from when you're a kid in the park. There's the guy that can throw the ball and has accuracy, and then there's the athlete that can sling the ball 60 yards downfield, but not necessarily as accurate because he's not really a quarterback. So you design the offense around him to make sure there's not, when I don't get a lot of sleep, the voice doesn't last long. So thank God I got the honey and lemon. So you get a Ryan Tannehill, a different kind of quarterback than Lamar Jackson. He's more of a game manager type. And his accuracy is better than Lamar Jackson's, but not exactly what you need to be an elite quarterback. So what do? You make sure you have a strong running game. You keep him in manageable downs, and he has the wherewithal to make a couple plays with his legs and make a couple of passes for you, and you're good as long as the game's not on him. Tua, same way. You've got to build an offensive line in front of him to give him time to find his receivers. And what's even more important is that the middle of the line, your center and your guards, be exceptional because you must create passing lanes. And shorter quarterbacks need passing lanes. Taller quarterbacks can see over the linemen, so they don't need the passing lanes. Shorter quarterbacks do. Example for you. I've said this many times over the years. Let me see, make sure I'm saving this so I can get back to them after. Anyway, so I want you to do this, okay? I want you to go to a table in your dining room, in your office, whatever, and I want you to get down, like if you're receiving the ball, and I want you to get under the table and squat down like you're a quarterback. So now lower your vision. So now imagine that you're a quarterback with these behemoths around you and the behemoths in front of you. So you're a shorter quarterback. The second you take the snap, these behemoths all stand. So now all of a sudden, you've lost the field of play for a millisecond. As you take your first step back, things start to clear up a little bit more, and then the passing lanes open up, and you know what the play is. So you know exactly how the routes are going to be run with the same depth that they're supposed to run them every single time. So as a short quarterback, you need those passing lanes. You need a running game. And you need a quarterback's coach and an offensive coordinator, obviously, that know how to call a game from play to play, from series to series, how to set up people, all of those things. We don't have that here. We don't have the coaching staff to help Tua like Sean Payton would be able to do because he had the same kind of player in Drew Brees. When Don Shula had Bob Greasy, he knew that Bob Greasy was not this incredible athlete. So what did he give him? He gave him a monster line. He gave him 3 running backs. And then he had an exceptional receiver in Paul Warfield when he needed to go to him. But he could always depend on Bob dropping back and having a clean pocket. Because Shula understood. Now with Marino, he never really had that kind of line. He had two guys on the left side that were awesome, but the right side was never anything like the left side. But Marino got rid of it quickly. So he made everybody better. So Shula didn't have to have the same kind of line for Marino. Now, he did fail to get Marino the running back. He failed to get Marino the defense. So in order for you to win with Marino, you had to have those elements. In order for you to win with Pat Mahomes, you got to have an offensive line, right? Because last year when he's in the Super Bowl, he's getting his ass kicked. Every quarterback needs help. It's a matter of your coach understanding and your front office understanding what that help needs to be. But if your front office wants to add veteran linemen and your head coach says, no, we're going with young, what do? Now you've got a schism. Now you've got a fight. Now you've got a disagreement. But you have a contractual agreement that he gets to control the 53. So now how do you eliminate that contractual agreement? You fire his ass. And the next guy that comes in will not have the same kind of control. I guarantee you that. Because the front office can't have that anymore, because then they're going to lose their jobs because the guy that's coaching refuses to accept the moves that they need, like more veterans on the line. Like the front office gets you Chan Gailey, but you scare him away. Front office gets you Ryan Fitzpatrick, but you want Jacoby Brissett. Can't have that. Just can't. And it's obvious. I'm not telling you anything new, by the way, right? Did I not say this last month and the month before that and the month before that? I never told you anything different than what I just said now. At no point, I pointed out all these examples as they were happening and telling you what was going on. Because it's obvious there's no way the front office wants to sign Kyle Van Noy and then just release him the next year. That's asinine. No general manager wants to do that. Cookie Vice, thank you, sir. He says, good morning, Big O. Who picks the coach now? GM, owner? Both. But GM will lead the way. The GMs, the GM, the three guys will decide who is the next head coach. Manny J. Snow, thank you, sir, for some love on the super chat. So the only one that comes to mind is Mike Zimmer experienced. Well, I disagree. Jim Caldwell and Jack Del Rio. I like those guys too. Zimmer, it's like he's a really good defensive-minded coach, but offensively, I don't know, man. There's something about him that, you know, I don't know what to tell you. It's odd, man. Alex Gomez says, was stoking Flores for 3 years, even after firing both coordinators after year one, bringing back Chan Gailey. You were the homer. Only this past season did your tune change. Doesn't make you right. No, Alex, what it makes me is an intelligent person, my brother. See, that's the problem with that point of view. You guys think because I liked the flow moves the first 2 years, I can't change my mind. So the ignorance, Alex, would be to actually stick with something that isn't working, my brother. That's actually called insanity. That you stay with something, you expect a different outcome when you know what's going to happen. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, my man, but see, the difference is I'm an intelligent person, I think, at times, where I'm going to assess the situation and say, yeah, no, this doesn't fly. By the way, I liked Adam Gase the first year. After that, I wanted Adam Gase fired. What do you want me to do? I mean, that's what these guys did. They assessed the situation and they made the right decision. That's usually what intelligent people do, my man. if you married the wrong woman, which maybe Alex, you might one day, and she's cheating on you, you're going to stay with her? Just wondering. Or do you assess the situation and then say, yeah, I got to go? So you got a job, all of a sudden they're not treating you well. They're giving you half of the benefits that they told you they would. Your boss is a jerk. So are you going to stay at that job, Alex? Or are you going to assess the situation? Are you going to use your intelligence and figure out, hey, this is not a good move? I never said to hire Brian Flores, by the way. They hired him, and I said, all right, let's see what happens. I didn't know anything about Brian Flores. I like what I saw the first couple of years. But I'm smart enough to know what's going on now. And I guess, Alex, I was smarter than most. So it's not a matter of making me right or wrong. It's just I was smart enough to assess the situation and say, yeah, no, it's time to go in another direction. That's what intelligent people do, Alex. Maybe not in your case. You probably, you read dead end, but you keep driving. Can't help you, bro. Bridge up, but no, you've got to get across. So just keep trying to drive over. I got you, bro. I got you, dude. You're determined. Once you screw up, you want to prove that you're a constant screw up, Alex. Gotcha, bro. That's impressive. I got to say, you got to have a lot of conviction to continue to screw things up. That's strong. Let's see. Chuck Terzian says, Big O, love your show as always. Great job. Flo had to go. What are your thoughts on maybe Bill Cowher as head coach? Just a thought. No, Bill Cowher's done. History in the archives. I wouldn't want Bill Cowher in any way, shape, or form. He's been out of football so long, so out of touch. He doesn't know the assistant coaches anymore. There's been so much turnover, turnover at this point. No, you need somebody in the game. Okay. So no, not at all. Please. Would never want Cowher. Rick Manx, thank you for the love on the super chat. Rex Ryan, no sir. Never in 100 years. I'm not a raw BS guy. That's not really how I like coaches. Raw BS guys don't bring substance when it's all said and done. Ohio John, thank you for the love on the Venmo. He says, Greer, McKenzie, and Allen have forgotten more football than I know. I was shocked by the news, but if they saw the signs, this was a call that needed to be made, then so be it. I'm about what's best for the Dolphins. Just hope they get it right next time. Exactly, John. That's it. And that's what I think is happening. They're going to get it right this time. They are. They're going to get it right this time. Dean Gramesty, thank you, sir, on Venmo. Cash Big O show. It's a great day, Big O. The Dolphins got better today. Great show. I'm with you, Dean. That's why I'm so excited now. The excitement is back for next season already for me personally because of this, because now I had no hope next year for this team if Flo had come back. None. Sorry. Adam Pink, sir. Thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. He says, glad Stephen Ross had the courage to can Flo. I am stoked for the future now. So he feels the same way I do about the future. It's a beautiful thing, man. Really is. Halle Berry is watching. She drops me a super chat. She says, what do you think about Tua's future? It's beautiful now. I was gonna talk about before this happened. One of the things I have on my paper is you either trade Tua or fire Flo. That was my subject today. And I was going to tell you because of what I explained before with Jimmy Johnson and Dan Marino, which in hindsight, that's what should have happened. The day Jimmy Johnson took over, Wayne Huizenga should have been ready for Jimmy or Dan, and they should have traded Dan. I know it sounds blasphemous. I love Dan Marino. He's my guy forever, but it would have been better for Dan because the way it ended for him here was not acceptable. The way Jimmy treated him the last 4 years was not acceptable. I was there. I watched it every single day. I was in the locker room. I know the crap that was going on. Unacceptable. Marino deserved better, and that's what I was about to say. Tua deserves better. Tua deserves somebody that's actually going to support him to see if he'll succeed or fail. This guy is going to set you up for failure part ways. Part ways. That's what I was going to talk about. So Tua's future now is locked in. I think now they'll move forward and build this the right way around him. You're going to see a change on the O-line and O-line coach. Justin Shelb again. Thank you, sir. He says, thoughts on Marvin Lewis. He can get good coordinators and did pretty well considering Bengals ownership doesn't like to spend. Yeah, but look at Zach Taylor now. They look better than they did with Marvin. Nah, I think Marvin had enough time as a head coach. I'd rather go in the Jim Caldwell, Jack Del Rio direction than Marvin. I don't mind Marvin as a coordinator, but not a head coach. John Pedersen. Thank you, John. What if Seattle decides that Pete and Russ can't work together and stick with the QB? What do you mean, like Pete Carroll available or Russ Wilson? I don't think they're going to trade for guys like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. And I don't even think Deshaun Watson, to be honest with you. I think they're good. I think this decision today means they're moving forward with Tua, and they're building around Tua. Okay? Please, folks, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Rachel Phelps, thank you for the love on Super Chat. Smash that like button. Very, very important to smash that like button. All right, folks? Jason Dowd, thank you, sir. He says he gives us some love on the Cash App. He says for Philbin, Gase, Flores all had problems relating. Exactly. You are correct, sir. Ricardo Rivera, thank you also on Cash App. He says, for Papo, you called it. Thanks for the great show today. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you on Cash App. And Stephen D. Felippis, as always, my brother, thank you. Much love on the Cash App. That's too kind, as always, my friend. I appreciate you very much, man. Thank you out there, all of you. Thank you so much for supporting the hell out of our show, man. It is very, very kind of you all out there. Thank you. Steven, you blow me away, dude. You always do, dude. Thank you so much. Joseph Blasetti, thank you, sir. Love on the super chat. Donald Swansea, thank you also. Man, you guys are super chatting like crazy today. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Wow. It's just a great freaking day. I mean, I was so frustrated because it's 25 years of frustrations now. You know, I know it's deeper from a Super Bowl, but before 25 years ago, I know we didn't win a Super Bowl, but it was very respectable football. I had a great time. We needed more. The Marino era deserved the championship, but I understand. But the last 25 years, and I'm thinking, oh my God, are we going to do the same thing over? And one of the things that I do love about what Chris Greer just did is he learned from his past. And he learned from watching other mistakes of keeping Philbin around and Sperano around and Gase around longer than you're supposed to. You got to get rid of them. Okay? So, and now, by the way, you see what Ian Rappaport is reporting. Here we go. Let's bring this up. So Ian, I told you this would start coming out. Okay. Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, I'm not going to be the person to take Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. Let's see, what else do we have here? You know what? Dolphins coach Brian Flores was a significant reason why the Deshaun Watson wanted to be Miami with Flores out. This situation may have changed. And when you say that, remember, I told you for several weeks, not everybody was on the Watson bandwagon. So all this stuff that people are reporting, and by the way, I think I also mentioned that eventually all of this will come out. Did I not say that? Did I not say several times for several weeks that eventually all of this will come out? Well, it has. And ladies and gentlemen, Dolphin Nation, this is a great day, okay? A great day. This is going to give them an opportunity to move forward and hopefully with a coach that can get them over the top. Let's hope for that. All right, let's get ready for hour number 2. And, of course, we're coming to you live from the OK Coin Studios. That's right. It's the Big O Radio Show. Hour number 2 is next.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Big O. Protect your home the way we do with Sloman's Home Security, folks. And if you want some great news, how about this? A free doorbell camera. That's right. The first 40 Big O listeners who dial 1-800-ALARM-ME will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman's Shield. And that's not all, folks. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 Big O listeners to call 1-800-ALARM-ME, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. Keep your family safe like we do here in the Alzigari family. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME.
When you're ready to purchase a new home loan or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today, 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than a roof above the people you love. Call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411 and ask to speak to Tommy, the owner. They specialize in all kinds of roofs, led by their highly crafted, skilled, and professional roof mechanics. All of their previous customers have an opportunity to enter their bi-weekly drawings to receive free an exterior impact metal door. Please call for more details. That's Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411. Trust Tommy to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. The Big O Radio Show is looking for an experienced salesperson in the radio or TV business. The candidate must have at least 5 years of sales experience in the broadcast business over the last 10 years. Please email your phone number and resume to bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. That's bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Looking for an aggressive person who can help our platform expand into many avenues in our business. Reach out if you are the person that's able to make the difference. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Big O Radio Show is home for the hardcore Dolphins fan. That's why we give you Omar Kelly twice a week. Buckle up. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
Howdy, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Omar Kelly. And our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. How you feeling, Omar? How How surprised are you? Because, on this side, we're not surprised. Is he hearing? No, wait, we don't hear you. 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 Look at him scrambling. Oh, my God. My mic's not on? What's going on? My mic's not on. Oh, Lordy. My mic's not on. I'm trying to fix it. Oh, man. Let me see. I'm fiddling around. I mean, is it this button? Is it that button? Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, no. It's live radio. Come on. Come on. You're choking. You're choking like Flo against the Jags. Come on. I still can't hear you. Okay. Don't you love live radio? See, this is why I don't do this wussy ass.
Can you hear me?
Now we got you. But this is why I don't do this wussy ass stuff that the rest of the world does. They go doing the show podcasting behind the scenes so they can perfect it and clean it all up for you and dress it up. No, bro, we're human beings. We're going to screw up. We're going to make mistakes. And we want to do them right in front of you because we're just like you, normal. So there he is, the man, the myth, the legend that now fixed his volume. Omar
Hopefully
Kelly.
it works. Hopefully it works.
Hopefully it works. Definitely. Now you get to communicate something that Brian Flores doesn't know how to do. So there you go. It's
wow.
It's a beautiful thing.
Congratulations, you get to take a victory lap.
I'm just happy for the Dolphin Nation, dude. I'm so happy for that. I know what was going to happen next year. Everybody was going to get crap canned. That's what was going to happen next year. And so you those three guys saved their asses by doing this right now, and he had to go, man. He had to go. But
and it was made abundantly clear by Steve Ross that this really wasn't a performance issue. This was a bad coworker issue and a personality, conflict issue. And by
the way, who kept telling you that for months?
Listen,
that he was walking around like Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels? Who was telling you that for months?
And here's the thing about it. For those who don't understand why.
By the way, wait a minute. I won't interrupt you anymore. You're the one person that I'm most disappointed in. Do you know why? Because you knew Flo was an asshole. You even said it.
How many head coaches have I coached that's an asshole?
No, dude. You and I have been doing interviews
assholes
for years.
As head coaches are not unique.
No, you and I have been doing shows for years. Dude, you got along with Gase.
Gase was not an asshole. Gase was not.
Say? But you just helped me again. That's what I'm saying. You don't say that about everybody. I've never, in fact, this is the first time in our relationship that you would come out openly and say, hey, Flo's an asshole.
I never hid that Flo's an asshole. I've never hidden that.
Sean, go back a couple months.
I have never hidden that he's an asshole, never hidden that he's difficult to work with.
Yes.
That's
why I thought you knew what I knew about what was going on in that building, that he was, making it difficult on everybody.
But here you're talking as if assholes and head coaches is a unique thing.
No, but you can't be an asshole within. You could be an asshole to you and me. You could be an asshole to other people, but you can't be an asshole with your own staff. You can't be an asshole with your own players. You can't be an asshole with your your upper echelon, your general manager.
I don't think this was a him being an asshole to the people that worked under him. This wasn't a Nick Saban situation. This was a Chris Greer, Brian Flores situation. As I was saying, if you know Chris Greer's personality, then the problem is Brian Flores, because Chris Greer has no ego. It's probably his biggest fatal flaw. True. The man has no ego, zero.
True.
And which is why it shouldn't be that hard to work with him. And for a head coach, he's going to give you what you want, which I don't agree with. You don't agree with.
No.
But that's who he is. So all this, and that's why I disagree with you in theory, because the decisions that they made them in lockstep. They made them in unison, or at least I thought they made them in unison.
Well, it's the damn contractual problem, Omar, that you signed a contract that says he controls 53. So when you make a decision above, and then he wants to, cock block you.
But you build the roster.
It's like I told you several times. Do you think that Chris Greer wants to sign Van Noy and Flowers and then cut him the following year? No general manager wants to do that, because they'd rather keep him for another year to ease the cap hit. And you know that because you cover this damn thing every day. They'd rather keep a bum if he's a bum. I'm not saying that they were bums, but if they're a bum, they'd even rather keep the bum another year just to save the cap.
If they can get along with the coach.
Right, yeah, exactly. So apparently these are just two examples of many other ones that, and he was never on the Tua bandwagon, ever. Okay? Ever. And then that becomes a detriment.
Yeah, Chris Greer, I mean, listen, the one thing that I will say about Steve Ross in his defense, and I always say this in his defense, he knows where the bodies are. He knows who said what, who did what, who wanted what, who advocated for what, who had a stance before these decisions are done. So when the decisions are made and it makes you look like an idiot, he knows who wanted what, who said what, who did what, who advocated for what. And so I think it makes it easier for him to make these decisions, whereas, things got frosty between him and Greer. And, I'm sorry, Greer's here. You know why Greer's here? Because the man has no ego. None. Zero. And that's why it's easy for Steve Ross to overlook his missteps, because I don't think this roster is that well built or talented. But it's easy for him to overstep his missteps because he knows all Chris Greer ever did was give Brian Flores what he wanted. And right or wrong in my opinion, that's what the GM is supposed to do, or in our mind supposed to do. And I think part of the problem, part of the reason also that he was fired, outside of the fact he could not work well with others, or the relationship had been strained, outside of that, I do believe that the feeling that he couldn't fix this offense or wouldn't be able to fix this offense was damning and had to be a factor in this decision.
Well, that's kind of what I've been talking about. If you can't build a staff, I have no use for you.
Yeah.
None. That's why I told you. Look at Vrabel. He lost his offensive coordinator to a head coaching job. And now he's got to replace it, and he's got double-digit wins again. You know what I mean? That's a head coach. That's a head coach that knows how to build a staff and replace a staff. So if you initially can't build a staff, holy crap, what happens when you lose one of these guys? If you actually find a good one, then you can't replace them. And so that's where I kept, nobody ever had an answer for me when I kept telling you, okay, you want to keep Flo? Well, okay, so what tells you he can build a staff? Because you can't, you have no answer for that. And you knew
but I don't think that's what cost him.
And you knew more changes.
Not what cost him his job. It was a fact.
You knew more. You're right, but you knew more changes were coming this year too.
I mean, yeah, they're going to have to fire the whole staff. The one thing about the offense, as I've said previously, everybody was a step ahead of where they should be in the NFL. Position coaches should be assistant position coaches. Lead offensive line coach should be a backup offensive line coach. Coordinator should be a running back coach and a tight end coach. If they would have just had a Jim Caldwell here that maybe helped everybody, get their job perfected and fine tune this offense, then maybe he had a chance. But this Flo, his hires on offense were a nightmare, just consistently a nightmare.
Right. And again, that's where
except for Chan Gailey. Let me put some respect on Chan Gailey's name.
And I told you where Chan Gailey came from.
Yes.
I told you, that wasn't Flo. Flo effed up, but that wasn't Flo that brought him in. That's the thing. I keep telling you that. You're giving him credit for that. He doesn't even deserve credit for that one. He even had training wheels put on for that. That was in a way, that's the part that freaks me out about him, is that, mostly young coaches will try to find veteran guys to suck up like a sponge everything. And let's use the term that you've been using a lot in the interview, ego. You, as a young coach, you have to put your ego aside and say, hey, veteran DB coach, teach me. What are you doing? This, that, so I know what you're doing. And I'm learning from you. Hey, veteran, whatever, because maybe he's just an offensive mind, but he hired this guy and that guy, and he wants to learn from these guys that maybe usually you want to get a guy or two that were former head coaches so you can really learn off of them. This guy did not want to seek out people like that, which is really baffling to me, to be quite honest.
It's he wanted to develop and mentor young coaches like he was, and I don't see anything wrong with that, but you got to have a balance. And there was nothing wrong defensively. Defensively, they were good. All your issues were really on the offensive side of the ball, and then special teams. How did the special teams get this bad in one season? And that's supposed to be one of your things in your wheelhouse as well.
That's right. You trade.
I can't sit here and tell you that Flo is I can't sit here and tell you that Flo is a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think that, and it's funny because I used to say with Gase, and it used to drive him crazy. I used to say he's going to be a better coach when he matures. When Gase, when Gase grows up a little bit, he was going to be a good coach. Flo, I can't say that, but I can say Flo has to learn how to work well with people and communicate well with people. And
he has the Randy Shannon disease.
Oh, damn. I never even connected that.
Joe Philbin had the Randy Shannon disease too. There's certain guys.
No,
dude. I heard the stories. He would walk in. He would walk in every week to the GM's office and say, "Get rid of this guy. Get rid of that guy." They got to a point with Joe Philbin. They said, "Joe, we cannot get rid of all the people you want. You have to learn how to try to coach some of these characters and egos." They got tired of him going up there telling him, "I need to get rid of this guy, that guy, this guy." So, and by the way, Flo traded a Pro Bowler on special teams. That was probably really what got him fired.
Oh my God, are you friggin' kidding me? Are you mentioning Jakeem Grant for real right now? Jakeem Grant, come on, man. You want Jakeem Grant?
How serious I am?
Let's sign him this offseason. I don't care. I'm good. As long as he's just going to do returns, we're good.
Okay. I don't know. I heard the Bears are going to tag him, so I don't know,
Bears tag Jakeem Grant. That's some funny stuff right there.
That would be funny, man. That would be funny.
Yeah.
All right. So, part 2 of my whole thing throughout the year was not only fire Flo, but I say you go after a Jim Caldwell, a Jack Del Rio type. I want an old grizzled coach that doesn't have the ego that he can actually delegate to other coaches and find quality coaches. I don't want, he might be good, Eric Bieniemy, or any of these other new Brian Dable, all these up and coming assistants and all that.
I love Dable.
I know that, but I like Bieniemy too. But since they've never really done it, I don't want to go through this again. I want the veteran coach.
I've been on that.
More relaxed and won't meddle as much with the front office decisions.
They always meddle with the front office decisions.
But not to the Gase and Flo extreme. So your thoughts on that?
I've always been an advocate for the second year coach. The Bill Belichick, because people don't realize,
it's a second go around. I got you.
It was the second go around.
A little Shalimar, second time around. I got you.
And he learned from his mistakes. And I've always been a major advocate for that. But that's not Steve Ross's way. That's not what he wants. And that's not what he hires on any level of his organizations. And I don't agree with it. But I also don't have a $5 to $6 billion empire with multiple businesses and seed money to start other businesses like Snapchat and crap like that. So who the hell am I to tell him how to run his organization and his business? Well, like, we don't know 5% of what Steve Ross knows about running businesses. And
he knows exactly all the mistakes that are being made inside that
building.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it. They keep making the same mistakes. And that's the one thing that troubles me a little bit about Steve Ross in this venture. And this one was a little bit different. This experience was a little bit different. But here we go, restarting this experience again, unless we do go get a veteran coach. Now, Doug Peterson, like, when it happened, I was initially like, yo, that's Dan's man. Dan has been, the little devil.
But apparently that he lost the locker room in Philly.
Coaches lose locker rooms all the time. Harbaugh lost the locker room in San Francisco. No. Coaches lose locker rooms. You can't name me a coach, except for Harbaugh and Tomlin. You can't name me coaches that don't lose the locker room.
Tell me a coach that lost the locker room then went back to have success somewhere else.
Kansas City.
Andy Reid?
Andy Reid lost the locker room in Philadelphia.
Andy Reid never lost the locker room.
He did. Lost it in Philadelphia.
Dude, all he did was go to championships and stuff.
Lost the locker room, tuned him out.
No, he didn't. They just changed him because they wanted a new voice because they thought they didn't get over the
what
top.
Happens when you want a new voice, Big O?
But dude, all he was doing is winning. He never lost the locker room. What are you talking about?
Harbaugh
look at the record, Omar. He was exceptional in Philadelphia. Okay, he just didn't win a championship.
I'm not going to split hairs with you. Okay. Coaches lose lock. I mean, it's the nature. And the smart ones just change their locker room. Like Tomlin's going to change his locker room. Like and the Dolphins are in a position to change their locker room. I know, which coach was it? Philbin or Gase that did it? When he lost the locker room, he changed it. I think it was Philbin. I'm not sure. Because Gase lost the locker room and there was no coming back from that one. It's a new day. It's unexpected. A coach that just produced 2 winning seasons for the Dolphins in a rebuild with a ton of issues, got fired. Is he a good coach? I think he's a pretty decent coach. Can he hire an offensive staff? No. But the question to me is, if this isn't an improvement if they can't hire somebody better. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Flo was chopped liver because he wasn't chopped liver. That defense was pretty good, pretty consistent for 2 years.
He's a half a coach. Oh, I'm sorry, he's a third of a coach. But no, the
special teams was good the first 2 years.
Yeah,
and then it got bad this year.
And then it got so you're a third of a coach. I mean, it's a matter of doing it every year, right? I mean, so his defense was pretty consistent 3 years. Nothing else was consistent for 3 years. I'm just saying. I mean, that's he's not the first guy we've had like that. So that only had, like, once there was half a coach also. All he knew was defense, and the offense was never lifted. You know what? Jimmy Johnson here in Miami. He only knew defense. He never lifted the offense. And believe it or not, and I know that he knows because he had a success in other places, but at least for our Dolphins. So this is not the first time we've run into a coach. See, Philbin, I can't even give him credit for any side of the ball. Gase, he was offense, but he was offensive with his offense, and his defense actually was better than his offense. So it was crazy. That's not the first time we have a coach like
my only thing in this scenario that troubles me a little bit is, why not pull the whole Band-Aid off? Why not go Greer, hire a new GM, let the new GM pick the coach? Why do you sit and say, okay, I'm still on this hamster wheel, can't get off this hamster wheel? An executive who's been here for 21 years on the hamster wheel is a guy I leave in charge to now hire his second head coach.
Well, because you just answered your own question. Stephen Ross knows exactly where the bodies are buried. He knows that it was Flores that never wanted Tua from the get-go and was fighting it. It was Flores that went against several calls and had to cut players and cut coaches.
Well, if he never wanted Tua, then he was right, because if he didn't want Tua, then he clearly wanted Herbert, and should have been the move.
And I can tell you he clearly did not want Herbert either.
Who the hell did he want then?
One day, my brother, One day we'll have a beer
that's
somewhere, and you and I,
That's
and I'm going to get a Bible, and I'm going to put your hand on that Bible, and I'll make you look me in the eye, and then I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to have something ready for you to have a heart attack. And so when you have that heart attack, I'm going to have the stuff, the adrenaline to kind of bring you back.
This is I hate revisionist history, which is why I never believe anything if it's not said to me on draft day or before people even begin practicing. I don't believe it. Okay. I don't believe it, and which is why I miss being in the building, because you get to hear.
No, notice that I'm the only cocky one in the media in the entire freaking nation about what happened with Flo. Notice, I'm the only one in the whole media. Nobody ever saw this coming.
Nobody saw it coming. You didn't even see it coming.
Nobody had the balls to say Flo was the problem.
Happen, but you didn't see it coming.
No. Nobody had the balls to say that Flo was the problem. Nobody. Everybody had to loop in Greer like you're doing now.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let's put this on record. I'm not sure that Flores is the problem.
Okay.
I still have my doubts about Chris Greer, because I'm sorry, if you're in charge and you are the HNIC, why do you act like you're employee number 34? And if Brian Flores is supposed to be working for you, you are the HNIC, which is what Steve Ross hired you, empowered you. What?
Contract.
Nah, man.
You Omar, once you sign it, you can't do anything about it, dude. Once there's been an agreement, my man, that's been, I don't know if you can still hear me.
I hear you.
Okay. Once there's an agreement, you have to live by it, and you have to fire him in order to get through that agreement, because you gave him control of the 53. That's really the problem.
Every coach that I've ever covered has had control of the 53, except for Sparano.
Yeah, no, but he had control, like personnel decisions, and that was the problem. And
every coach that I've ever covered is contractually, except for Sparano, has contractually
and Philbin. Philbin did not have control of the draft.
No, Philbin had control of 53.
He had control of the 53, but he didn't have control of what personnel would be put in.
That's Flores didn't have that control. Flores did not have control of the person.
Dude, if he didn't have that control, he wouldn't be able to get rid of Kyle Van Noy and Eric Flowers. And
he had influence. He did not have control. But yeah, listen, we're splitting hairs because they're supposed to work together.
We're not splitting hairs, because I kept telling you for months he's walking around that building like an asshole, telling everybody what to do because he knows more than everybody else. Did I not tell you that several times?
But that's his personality.
Isn't that what's coming out now? Oh, he was difficult to work with and this and that. And it's just like, I've been telling you for months that this guy was a king-size asshole walking around that building. I'm serious. You know that.
He is a king-size asshole.
And you knew it too. Damn it.
I never denied that he's not a king-size asshole, but he was good to the people in this building. Now, you don't get Nick Saban, Little Debbie stories. You're not getting that. You're not getting that.
I got my own stories with Nick Saban.
Everybody's got their own story. I don't have any stories with Nick Saban.
I'm the only one with the glorious. I got called an asshole and then sent to his office so he can apologize. I got Nick Saban to apologize to me. So I'm in a different class with Nick Saban.
Listen, I've heard so many weird Nick Saban stories. I'd be like, man.
When I sat down in his room and he hit the garage door thing and the door closed behind me, I was like, holy shit, dude. It's like is Spectre and 007 music about to come out or something? Like, is he about to whip out a cat and start petting it while he's talking to me? I mean, that was some weird stuff, dude. That was weird.
He's a weird dude.
He had a red velvet rope in front of his office, so you couldn't walk directly in front. You'd have to go around the rope. Okay. And you know the story of Fudge Brown, right? Fudge Brown basically got fired because she said, "Hey Nick, you got a haircut? It looks really nice on you."
I don't know who Fudge Brown is. But
Oh, okay. Well, she is maybe one of the 5 greatest human beings on the face of the earth. Put it that way. That's who Fudge Brown is. Anybody that has a problem with Fudge Brown, you have a problem. Okay. Fudge Brown is one of the most decent human beings that the good Lord ever created. Okay. And how anybody could ever have a problem with Fudge Brown is just beyond me, dude.
what does
And
she
anybody
do?
that's
Job.
she's community relations and PR and all that for the Dolphins for many, many years. She now works for the NFL. When you go get your credentials for the Super Bowl, she's usually there in the offices. And she is just, I'm telling you, bro, it's impossible. It's like Larry Bluestein. It's like, it's one of those kind of people that they're just, they're
Wow.
like the good Lord just created, close to perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's who Fudge Brown is. And he fired her just because she complimented him on his haircut. Because you couldn't talk to Saban.
Yeah, I know Saban was a weirdo.
Yeah.
I've heard every year I there's some Saban story that comes out and you're like, huh? And it's but
odd.
hey, he's gonna go down as one of the legends of the game. He's gonna
got him tonight?
win today. He's gonna
You got him tonight?
Yeah,
you got him.
come on.
Yeah. Me too. I'm picking him. I'm
Like,
with you there. I'm with you there.
you-
All right, so we'll wrap it up with this. What's your gut tell you? What kind of coach they're going after? You know what I think. What do you think?
What do you think? I
I
don't
told
know.
you it's a Caldwell Del Rio type. They're going to go after an old coach that is not going to necessarily meddle with them so much in personnel, but knows how to build staff after staff. I would lean to Caldwell because he knows quarterbacks so well, and he could help Tua.
Caldwell quit on the Dolphins. I'm not and blamed it on health. I'm not sure that's the right fit.
Or maybe he looked at
I know.
a month and said, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Listen, that man deserves a statue. That man had 3 winning seasons out of 4 in Detroit and made the playoffs twice.
Yes.
Jim Caldwell should have a statue that is erected outside that stadium that is taller than any building that exists in the greater Detroit area. Okay. And how you fire that guy to hire Matt Patricia and that stinking bird's nest on his face is beyond me.
Man,
okay.
You're disrespecting us beardies.
No. Your beard is tight. That son of a bitch had a bird nest. It was a disaster. And then he shows up in a jumpsuit with a pencil in his ear for every press conference. And he's telling a reporter that he's got to sit up straight. And it's like, dude, you look like a 17-year-old up there. The hell's wrong with you? And you can't coach. They fired Jim. That was the most racist look I have ever seen for an NFL team, to fire Jim Caldwell and go hire Matt Patricia. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the Detroit dumbass way, like they've been for 70 years. But you do not fire a coach in Detroit that wins 3 out of 4 years, dude.
I will say this, and I do not think that Brian Flores was a failure, but Belichick proteges, all except for Bill O'Brien, has failed. And
yeah, I mean, Bill, you're right. You're right. It's a great point you bring up about Bill, because people will argue with that. And really, as a coach, he wasn't really bad. It's the general manager that screwed the coach. So, in a way, you're right about that.
I don't know about that. I think I don't.
He fought with his best players and had to trade them. What are you talking about?
Who are you talking about? Belichick?
Bill O'Brien, I'm talking about, bro. He actually did a decent job as a coach.
Yes, he did.
But as a GM,
sometimes their personality. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Sometimes their personalities just get in the way, and I think Flores' personality gets in the way. And maybe you got to be a quirky MFer to go work under Belichick. Maybe you just got to be. I mean, think about what you're watching and what you're seeing. But anyway,
God bless. My man, did you see his special teams coach? He looks like he was 18 years old. He looks like he just finished using Clearasil.
Might have been his son.
And then come, huh?
Might have been his son.
I don't know what it is, bro. I mean, he could have been my son. I mean,
Might have been
actually,
his son.
I could have a son older than that guy. I mean, that guy, I don't even think that guy can grow a beard.
I used to watch him when he came to University of Miami back in their heydays, and I'll tell you the story. Belichick never missed a pro day at the University of Miami.
Oh, when we had talent?
Yeah, yes, when they had talent. He might still come now, but yes, when they had talent.
Mario loaded up.
And he seeing him in that element was always the weirdest thing ever. And he'd always have his son in tow with him. He'd be in flip-flops. Like Belichick would be in flip-flops, looking like he just came off the beach to watch pro day. And his son would be there right with him. And it's the same son that's the mullet-wearing defensive coordinator guy who, never went to college. He's just, or maybe he did go to college, but, I've been watching that kid since he was like 14, hanging on Belichick's coattails. And it's just so sick how nepotism is in this league. But anyway, I think this is Doug Peterson's job. I do.
Okay. That's a veteran. That's another veteran coach that I'm talking about. So yeah, that kind of goes in line with what I'm talking about there. And also a QB guy too. So that kind of goes.
I think.
So you're not expecting the up and coming coordinator getting the
elevation. I think it will. I'm hoping it's Doug Peterson. I'm hoping we've just learned from our foolishness. For the biggest issue that I have with these up and coming coordinators is they can't put the staff together.
Yeah.
And say whatever you want.
And the good thing about Doug Peterson is he's bounced around, and my theory on that. So bouncing around is a really good thing in the NFL, actually. People look at it the wrong way. Bouncing around is beautiful, bro.
You make connections. Yeah. Hopefully some of these coaches are retained. I think that there's some stars on the defensive side of the ball on this coaching staff, and I would hate to see them leave the building. Including the defensive coordinator. I think Josh Boyer had done a magnificent job. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I think Gerald Alexander's phenomenal at what he does. But c'est la vie, man. The new beginnings, new starts, new personalities. It's, think about this. I never wasn't here for Nick Saban. Cameron, Sperano, Philbin, I almost forget about him. Todd Bowles. Interesting. Okay, let me continue. Philbin, Gase, Flores. This is gonna be my sixth coach. Six.
That's why our franchise has gone nowhere, unfortunately.
Absolutely nowhere.
Meanwhile,
no. Take that back.
Meanwhile, Ira Winderman covers the same coach every year.
That's not why our franchise has gone nowhere. Our franchise has gone nowhere because we can't find or develop an elite quarterback.
Well, no, that's not true because we had an elite quarterback.
Who? What's his name?
Marino.
No. I'm talking about.
We got to stop with that.
I'm talking about.
We have to stop with all of that. The answer is not just an elite coach.
That was 20.
I'm talking about the thinking. We have to stop. It's not just the elite coach. You've got to surround whatever coach, it's not just the elite quarterback. If you get one, please surround him with the right people. Because when we had one, and rest in peace, Don Shula, you failed on the defense and you failed on the running game. So in the end, the Marino era did not give us enough. So the next time you do get that guy, and maybe Tua is that guy, build around the guy. At least try, dude. They try with Lamar Jackson. They try with Tannehill, and they have limitations, but God bless them. They tried. When you draft Cam Newton, God bless you, Carolina. At least you built it so you could try to win his way. That's what you've got to do with whatever quarterback you get, dude.
Just get an elite one, and we can work from there. 20 years of having spam at quarterback.
There's a few guys that won championships that weren't elite. So,
very few. Get an elite one, you're in the game. Get an elite one, you're in the game.
I'm with you. All right.
Start
Love
there.
you, brother. Hang in there. You will cover something really good at one point. I know you. I feel you. At the end of the season, now you're worn down and
I didn't expect this.
Yes.
Now it's like doing a marathon, and then they tell you, okay, go swim 10 laps now. Like what? Huh?
Yeah, you
Like,
were worn out yesterday. You were beaten down yesterday.
Like what? A head coach search?
You look like
damn.
You look like Tua this past week in ththose press conferences.
Tua's like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring up the offseason. He was just like, whatever, man. Whatever comes.
Yeah,
like,
that jovial dude we got early on was gone.
Yeah, we done kill that. We have destroyed that player. He's like, let me go back to Alabama. Is any small town teams interested in finding a quarterback? Like, listen, God bless them and bless him. You can say whatever you want about him, but he was overcoming some garbage.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Big time.
It is what it is.
Follow him on Twitter.
Don't care what happens.
Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly, and more importantly, subscribe over there to the Sun Sentinel and support Omar and Ira and all the great writers over there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel who do an excellent job. Oh, we'll talk to you on Friday, my friend. Who knows? They might have a head coach by then.
Yeah, sure.
All right, later. There you go. Omar Kelly and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Omar Kelly. For additions, home remodeling, or custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is the custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
Big Miami Dolphins fan. And so if you're looking for, hey, man, listen, you want to support our show, support our sponsors. He earns a AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call Eric, 305-433-4843. You want to build a man cave. You want to modernize the kitchen, expand the backyard because you're hanging out more in the house. Maybe you want to build an addition to the house because the family's growing, whatever it is. Maybe you want to build a game room. Call Eric at EJD Construction, 305-433-4843. Go to the website, ejdconstruction.com. JPY, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. He says, big kudos to you, Big O. But how do all your local Dolphin reporters miss this so badly? Not a good look for them. That JPY, listen, nobody got it. Rappaport didn't get it. Schefter didn't get it. Pelissero didn't get it. No one got it, dude. No one. Okay? This was the only show that kept reminding you that Flo is the problem and Flo needs to go. So, it is what it is, but that's not something that they're supposed to get. You know what I mean? They don't talk to anybody. Greer doesn't talk to anybody. Flo doesn't talk to anybody. And I could tell my man Greer certainly doesn't talk to my man Joe Rose because, wow, I can tell. By the way, Joe goes after him. That's good. Thomas Jensen says, Dave Hyde riding in the Sun Sentinel. Ross got it all wrong by not firing Greer. Well, that's fine. I love Dave Hyde, and I think he's wrong. And I think you're wrong too, Thomas. But hey, man, that's how it goes. Time will answer all, right? Those of you that believe in Tua, you'll find out if he can play or not. Those of you that don't believe in Tua, you'll find out if he can play or not. Those of you that don't believe in Greer, you'll find out if he's got all the answers or not. That's just the way it is, man. Time will have to answer all. But for now, those of you that kept thinking Flo was fine and he's a good coach, suck it. You're wrong. That's it. That's all. Suck it. You're wrong. Done. He wasn't as good as you thought he was. He didn't have control of the locker room. Now, that was remember a couple weeks back? Oh, he's kept this locker room together. What did I tell you? That's a bunch of BS. He ain't keeping no locker room together. Why the hell do you think? Again, I'm the only one in the media that wanted to remind you that what? Here we go, because I have to go back all the way to January 3rd. In 05, Saban Started 3-7, then won 6 in a row to finish 9-7. Sperano in 08 was 2-4, finished 9-1 to finish 11-5. Gase started 1-4 and went 9-2. What did it mean? What, that there were some great coaches and they had them motivated or anything? Get the hell out of here with that stuff already. Stop with this crap that you think that people just tank. And they don't. They're professionals. They play the game hard no matter what. Do you have an Antonio Brown? Yes. Do you have a couple of lazy players on each team? Yes. But most of the players, they're professionals. As I explained yesterday in the postgame show, they're professionals just like you. You go to work, whether you're a car wash attendant, whether you're a teacher, whether you collect the garbage, whatever it is you do a damn good job at it because you take pride at your job. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's what you should do. I don't care what job you have. Every job on the planet is a great job. And every job that pays for money to put food on your or money so you can put food on the table is a fantastic job. And all of us that are getting paid to do a job, we need to do it as best we can. And most of us take pride in our jobs, whether we're driving a bus, a school bus, or whether we're working at an ice cream parlor. Okay? Or you're a barista. You take pride in your job. This isn't that Flo was keeping them motivated and, oh, he's such a great coach. He saved the season because they were 1-7 and this. No, what you had to look is, Flo, why the hell were you 1-7? Because that's why you're not in the playoffs. That's the problem. That's what you guys had to look at. Some of you out there that were on this Flo bandwagon. Problem is, you're not willing to assess it, and then you're not willing to make the tough decision and make the hard decision in your mind and convince yourself, man, look what's going on. Yeah, Flo has to be the problem. And that was our issue here with this team. You know? Anyway, what can I tell you? 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the program. Let's see. What else? Email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Twitter, Big O Show. Of course, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. Roger Suarez on Cash App. Thank you, sir. He says, for who is your top head coaching target? Tua back. Yes, Tua will be back. Roger, as I've said many times, and I guess you're just tuning in, I would go with a Jim Caldwell or maybe a Jack Del Rio type. Those are the kind of guys that I would go after. I want an older coach. I want an experienced coach. I want one that can build a staff. Not Brian Flores, who cannot clearly build a staff. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't know. Okay. All right. I just realized it. Okay. So that's what's going on. Okay, I can't even take screenshots anymore. I think this thing is loaded. I think I think on my iPad, I'm going to have to, what's that called? I got to clear out some stuff so I could take some screenshots. So just in case, because I thought I may have missed a super chat. And if I did, I apologize because I tried to keep up with all of them. I'm going to look for it now to see if I make sure I did not get it. But thank you all out there as always, because you guys have bombarded us today. Please don't forget to smash the hell out of that like button. Let's get over 1,000 likes on this show, man. It gets the algorithms going, and more Dolphin fans and Canes fans and Marlins fans and Panther fans and Inter Miami fans will find out about the show so they can go to the place that's going to actually give them the coverage that they want as a South Florida sports fan, because we got South Florida sports fans everywhere, dude. In Chicago, in Malaysia, in California, New York, in Atlanta, in New Zealand, in Portugal. They're all over the place. So please smash the hell out of the like button. That would be fantastic. Jason Slack says, Big O, you called it, bro. Well, we try, my brother. We try. Barney O says, Tua showed nothing but promise. Give him an offensive line, a real coaching staff, and a running game, and you'll see the promise. B. Dennis says, empty that storage, Big O. Yeah, I got to do that. Oh, the front office needs to be perfect this offseason. You're right. Their ass is on the line. You know, that's what part of this decision also. Now, okay, while I'm a believer in the front office and I wasn't a believer in Flo. Okay, so now they made the hard decision. They got rid of Flo, which is just genius. It's the right thing to do. But you're right. You're 1,000% right, my friend. They now the pressure's on them, right? Because you basically, by firing Flo, you said Flo is the problem and it's stopping us from making progress. We're a better team than what Flo showed this year. So now you've got to show everybody that you're the better team by going out there and getting the coach that proves you're a better team and takes you to the next level. So you are correct. The front office now has put more pressure on themselves. And don't you think that Stephen Ross has looked at Chris Greer and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie and said, guys, all right, we're going to make this change, but you need to get it right now. You got to get us over the top now, guys. Let's get the right coach. And I think that that's what it's all about. And by the way, this has been brewing for a while. They already know what coaches are going after. They already know. Okay? So that's a done deal. You can bet your life on that. Okay? There's no doubt in my mind that they already know who they fired him 2 months ago, I believe. And they were already planning this. So I am sure, because when it happens in this fashion, that's what it tells me. You already were going to fire him a while back because of all the clear examples that I kept pointing out. And so now you already know who you're going after. And so if any of them are in the playoffs, then you got to wait. But if they're not in the playoffs, then you can move forward. More life. Thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. He says, Big O, I didn't agree with you on the Flo firing yet. You hit it again. And yet to be wrong, been listening for years. Cookie Monster. Hope they keep DC. Thank you. What's up, Cookie Monster? I have not heard from the Cookie Monster in a long time. So that's very, very cool to hear from the Cookie Monster again. James Reichart says, Byron Leftwich, great offensive mind, well-respected, been around, has a big Rolodex. He's never been a head coach, my man. I'm not putting another guy in place that's never been a head coach. Not doing that. I'm not going there anymore. At least me. Now, if they want to do that, that's up to them. But I think you go in the direction of a veteran coach. By the way, those of you that took advantage of the dip this morning when it hit down into the 40s, 40, I'm talking about 40,000, 40,100, 40,200 for Bitcoin. So just to give you a little OK Coin corner today, okay, because we are broadcasting live from the OK Coin studios, and I have a little OK Coin corner for you. And I've told you this over and over again. Be patient with crypto, but take advantage of it. Bitcoin is only going to go in one direction. So as it flounders now, it's not telling you that it's struggling. It's just kind of consolidating right now. And it's found a hard floor at 42. And right now it's back to $42,038. And it stayed at 42, but when it drops to 41 and even to 40, those are incredible buying opportunities. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a guy that loves crypto. But I'm telling you that the way this world is going, the direction we're going, the amount of countries that are going to add Bitcoin as their currency. Not that I would use it as currency. I use it as a savings account. But those people that use it as currency, and they will all over the world, this is going to explode. And you'll never see 40s again. I believe that once it catapults up to the 80s, the 90s, and the 100s, you'll never even see the 50s again. So the fact that's in the 40s is a blessing, and for those of you that may have bought it at 47 or 52 or 60, patience. What you do is you continue to buy it lower and lower, so you lower the price of your overall buying of it. So that way, when it does climb, you now have even more. Okay? But what happened to this morning again became a great buying opportunity when it dropped into the 40 and in the 41 area. It's back up to 42 again. And I don't know if it's going to now catapult up finally and slingshot up and make the move that we're waiting for. But every time it has those kind of dips, those are opportunities for you. Don't look at it as a negative. That's what the whales want you to think, because then they're going to take your space and buy the stuff you sold at a much lower price. The difference between 2022 and 2018 and 17 and 15 and 12, there was more retail that was dominating in crypto. That's no longer the case. The whales and the financial institutions are now dominating crypto. They are your foundation, like they are in the stock market. So now the foundation is stronger than ever. It is really, in my eyes, not a financial advisor, but in my eyes, it's almost ridiculous to think that crypto is going to crash like people think, because there's just too much usage for it at this point in time. And it's only growing, and the world is only adapting to crypto. So if that's happening, if the world is adapting and adopting, then it can only go in one direction. So these volatile moments are not negatives. You have to use them as positives. And 6 months from now, a year from now, you will thank me. Okay? I met a listener yesterday at Sports Grill who listens to the show and loves the crypto talk and got in on several things, and he's way up, which I, not for nothing, but if you've taken my advice from, the beginning of the year to now, you are way up. Even on this dip, you're still up. Okay? So patience. Hang in there. All right? By the way, Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises, folks, great sponsor of ours. Great, let's call it a family man of South Florida. Not because he has a large family, but he's one of us, man. Been here forever, been serving this community for over 25 years, AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, just salt of the earth human being. When you call Tommy B. Butts, and listen, write this number down, save it on the cell phone, 954-735-9826. If you need your roof inspected, if you need to fix something in your roof, if you still have a blue tarp, whatever it is, please call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises. Go to the website, Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com. Tell them that Big O sent you, 954-735-9826. They work on all kinds of roofs, okay? So it doesn't matter, residential, commercial, they can take care of it. And they are licensed and insured, and they've got highly crafted, skilled, and professional roof mechanics. And listen, folks, all work is fully guaranteed with the customer's complete satisfaction, and that's what Tommy B. Butts Jr. is all about. You're going to love him, man. When you meet him, you're going to know what I'm talking about when I tell you that this is just a golden human being. 954-735-9826. And by the way, each of their previous customers has an opportunity to enter into their bi-weekly drawings to receive a free exterior impact metal door. So call them for more details. 954-735-9826, serving all of South Florida. Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The Big O Radio Show is looking for partners to join our growing platform. If your business is ready to reach an audience that starts in Florida, crosses the nation while expanding internationally, this is the program that provides that vehicle. The Big O Radio Show is ready to broadcast live anywhere in the world to represent your event or product. To reach out by phone, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Help us grow as we provide the content and personal connection corporate entities will never achieve.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. It's hour number 3 on a beautiful, beautiful Monday, man. It is a gorgeous Monday. The sun is shining. It is bright as hell. Life is good for us Miami Dolphin fans because they did the right thing today. They did what they had to do. They had to let go of a coach that wasn't prepared for this position, that was unwilling to grow. And let me explain something to you. Sean, pull up the video. We're going to talk about it because yesterday in the press conference, I saw him say something, and I think he knew last night was his last day.
It's the Big O Show.
And I think he knew that he had already created a mess that he could not save himself from. And you're going to see a question now from a reporter and asking about the season and handling of everything. And he's going to talk about himself, how he feels he's grown a little bit. I want you to listen to the words carefully and how he's, remember, Flo is a guy that is like super obvious to read, that you can tell he's like, he doesn't fool you. He has, like, Flo could never be a poker guy. He would suck at poker. All right. He doesn't have a poker face. And it's so obvious how he has to craft things to say them to get them out. Well, here's how he handles this question. And you can tell that he has effed up his position on this team and with the people above. Here you go. Go ahead, Sean,
I
play.
think every experience is you learn from them, good or bad. And that's kind of how I try to approach everything.
You expected?
Man, look, every year's different. I think every experience is you learn from them, good or bad. And that's kind of how I try to approach everything. I know I've learned a lot this year about myself, this team, players on our team, and the people in our building. And I think that's really what I take from it. I think there'll be time to reflect on it and see. There's certainly some things that I've learned. I like to think that I've grown a little bit, but hopefully that's the case for everyone. That's the case for everyone every year, players, coaches. I'm sure that's the case for you in your profession. So, there's always good, there's always bad, and try to learn from it all.
So you could tell that there was a pause there, right? When he was saying, I think I've grown some, and so you can tell that he has some remorse about how he's handled things, and it seemed like it was too late. Remember, folks, this isn't just this year. This is 3 years. So it's not like you're talking about somebody that just did this for like the last 2 months of the season. These are things that were probably going on from year one. And they're probably working on it and trying to be patient and working with him and tolerating it and all that kind of stuff. But you will only tolerate things so much. You will only tolerate enough from players until the baggage is more than the talent. And it's just the same thing with coaching. You're going to tolerate somewhat from your coach until the baggage is worse than the talent. Then you cannot tolerate it. And so that's what we built up to a crescendo here. So this is a guy that was in that building acting like Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels. And they, you know what? This is probably something they even probably talked to him about already. Even probably when they hired him. They said, hey, the apples that fall from that tree have not gone well. You're not one of those apples, are you? Oh, So I don't know what happened in those conversations. But I'm sure you had to have it. It's only common sense that, hey, Brian, the guys that have come from that franchise have had a problem getting along with people. So, do you have any of those characteristics like Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia? Because they went to their places and they acted like they knew everything. And I don't know how that conversation went, but he turned into them. And that's why he's not here. And you can tell in that comment last night. When I heard that comment, I said, mental mark. I'm going to save that just in case they do make the right decision here and fire his ass. And sure enough, there it is. And you could tell that there's something there, dude. More Life says, now that Tua looks like he kept his job, what do you say makes him special enough to build around him? Intelligence, accuracy, ball placement, and he has enough athleticism to play back there, and he has enough arm to make all the throws you want. But without an offensive line, without a running game, and without a coaching staff on offense, he's not going to succeed. And again, I will say the thing that I said to one of our guys on Twitter, O'Shea Morris, that follows all the time. I'm not here to go grab a elite quarterback that he can mask what you got what you're missing. No. You go and sign Tom Brady, but then you still add Gronk and you still add the running back, what's his name? Fournette, and you add Antonio Brown and all that. And you still added stuff to a team that already had Mike Evans, Godwin, OJ, and Cameron Brate, right? And Ronald Jones II. But you still added more. And if you have Pat Mahomes, well, okay, so you have Pat Mahomes and you won your title. But then you lost your guys on the offensive line and you go back to the title game and you get your ass kicked. Well, wait a minute. I thought Mahomes was so good that he can cover up all that. Oh, no, he can't, because nobody can cover up an offensive line. So it's about building a team. And some of you out there, you got to stop with focusing on the quarterback. You have to focus on all the other things around him, because he's not the guy that's going to save the entire team when you don't have talent. And if you want to get the quarterback but not have the team around him, I saw that already with Marino. Yeah, I don't like that one either. So build the line, build the running game, get a real coaching staff, and Tua will look like a different player. You will not thrive. You will not get better in the world if you don't have support in anything. Okay? Give you an example. So final year at QAM. I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it because it's relevant and it goes with what it is, and it's an experience that I've had to live with. And talking about needing help, because everybody needs help. Nobody goes alone at it. So I'm at QAM my final year, and the new program director takes over. So he meets with all of us. Okay, first week, meets with all of us. Hey, so excited to work with this and that. I go, hey, yeah, great. I'm excited to work with you. And I don't even know the guy from a hole in the wall, so I really don't know. So I talked to him about some of the issues that I have on the station, you know. I only had one producer, and at that time he was very green, no Rolodex, doesn't know that, was barely, could actually book a guest, and he was a good producer because he was just green. It's just not his fault. Love the kid. So I only had that one producer. Every other show had two producers. Not only did they have two producers, but most shows have two and three hosts. I'm a solo guy. All right. So obviously it's a lot more work for me to do a show and carry an audience than two or three people. It's a lot easier for them, right? Most of those people can't do what I do because they can't do a show by themselves. So I had one producer and I'm the host. All the other shows, except for Joe Rose, okay? Joe had also a co-host and he had two producers. But except for Joe, I outproduced every other show on 560 and 790. I'm talking about this. Sponsors. Okay? So I beat everybody down on the rest of the station, but they all have two producers and they have multiple hosts on it. So I said, hey, listen, I need to get an experienced producer that can help me and book guests. And he goes, oh, well, no, we can't do that. It's not in the budget. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What do you mean it's not in the budget? I got like 15 sponsors. Only Joe Rose produces more money than I do. Well, that's not how it works. I go, what do you mean that's not how it works? And then that's when I had a problem because the clown was coming over from 790, right? And he had a morning show that had like 3 guys on it and 2 producers, and they barely had any live spots. In fact, I don't think they had a live spot. Okay? So I produced more in 1 hour in 1 week than that entire show does in a month. So you don't have money for a producer for our show that produces a lot more than your morning show, your midday show, your afternoon show, all of that. And I told him straight up, again, it's not a good thing to be honest with people sometimes, but that's not who I am. I've never been that guy. I'll tell you to your face what I'm thinking, no matter what. That's just the way I am. That's the way I've always been. So I go, so wait a minute. I produce more money than all the shows on both stations, except for Joe Rose, and you can't put a producer on a booking producer on my show? Okay. So I walked out of there knowing I was going to get fired 11 months later. That's the story at QAM. So it's like, they can manipulate anything they want, and they can try to, go against you. So, 11 months later, he calls me to the, HR office, and that's when my life actually begun again. And I was smiling and laughing and loving it. The HR guy was freaking out. Like, are you all right? Because I've never seen anybody this happy about getting fired. I go, man, you know what 11 months of hell is when you know you're not being supported and all you're doing is being constantly screwed over? So, you know what I mean? You need support, man. I don't care if you're Tua. I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson. I don't care if you're Ryan Tannehill. I don't care if you're Pat Mahomes. I don't care if you're Dan Marino. All right? The late, great Don Shula failed to provide the support Marino needed. And Marino can mask all you want, but he ain't going to mask you all the way to the title because it's a team game. Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, and what was it, 2016, whatever, with the Broncos? That dude couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. His arm was shot, like dead. And he won a Super Bowl because he had a team. So get me a coaching staff and get me a team, and then your quarterback can shine. So that's your long story right there about support. Got to have support, man. Doesn't matter who the hell you are. None of us are special enough that we can carry everything, a business, whatever, you name it. Part of the reason why I tried first really quick to try to get some real support to keep Onside going, but I wasn't going to kill myself on it because in the end, dude, I can't carry a whole station. I'm not that superstar, dude. I'm not Neil Rogers. You know what I mean? I'm not Levy. I know my place. I know people love our show and we have a good audience. We have a great audience, but I know that I'm not, Joe Rogan, and I know that I'm not, I'm not one of those like superstar hosts that have a ginormous audience. So I know that's fine, but man, I need help too. I can't do everything by myself. And neither can Tua. And neither can Pat Mahomes. And neither can anybody else. Because while Pat Mahomes is doing it, he is doing it with Tyreek freaking Hill and Travis Kelce. Okay? Two of the ultimate freaks at that position. Helps. Like Joe Montana's kicking ass, but he had Bill Walsh, who had Mike Holmgren and Dennis Green and Sam Weish and so many, coaches that were assistant coaches that took off to become head coaches. And then you look on the field and there's Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time. And John Taylor was pretty good. And Brent was an amazing tight end. So it's just, Roger Craig was a Pro Bowler. Just to think that you do it by yourself. That's why when somebody told me, last week, the whole thing with Marino, and I said, well, Marino couldn't win a title because he didn't have the help. But yet Greasy has 25% the talent of Marino. He didn't have to mask jack crap because he had a great running game, a great coaching staff, a great offensive line, and a monster defense. He just had to do his job. Let's build a team. And then everything else will fall into place. It's what needs to happen. Devin Jordan, thank you for some love on the super chat, sir. Big O, some of the best coaches in football were complete a-holes. Look at Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells. But yes, I agree. Flo's downfall was his OC staff. Yeah, but they can build staffs, those a-holes. See, Belichick had Flo as an assistant along with Matt Patricia, along with Romeo Cornell, along with Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels. You understand what I'm saying? And so there you go. So Bill Parcells also had all kinds of assistants. And one of them coaches for the New Orleans Saints and won a championship. You know what I'm saying? So he's had, and his other one has won 7 championships in Belichick. So yeah, you can be an asshole, but you got to get, the results. And the part that not enough people knew, and I had a better feeling for it than everybody else, was that he was not getting along with people in the building. And they were succeeding in spite of him, not because of him. Okay? Tony Segales, thank you, sir, for some love on the super chat. He says, for a great day, Flo is gone. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. As always, appreciate all of you out there, man, giving us love. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, because obviously we get the whole donation there. And then we've got the super chat going on, too. The other way to make a donation, too, on the program. Jeff Creed says, Flores, 3 years of being average. Bye. Mr. Ballgame says, I kept telling you all he wasn't going to last if these players regressed. Yeah, now everybody comes out and says that they told you so. Buzz Newman, just be ready for a rough next 3 years. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's a good 3 years. Jay Mills says, back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in 20 years, and the head coach that oversees that is fired the morning after the accomplishment. Classic Dolphins. Yeah, he got that winning season because he had a 17th game, my man. Let's not make it sound like it's the same accomplishment from 20 years ago. 20 years ago, they did it in 16 games. Okay? And why? He lost the Jacksonville game and lost the Raiders game. So he lost several games that he should have won, and they would have been in the playoffs. So think about why they were 1-7 more than the 7-game winning streak. Think about that. And think about last week against Tennessee when Duke Johnson's running the ball again really, really well, and you don't plan on using him for the rest of the game. Robert from Denver. Oh, by the way, this also means Mike Gesicki will come back. Robert from Denver, thank you for some love on the super chat, man. Hope to see you again next year here in South Florida. This is why I've been tuning into the Big O for years. Called it yet again and has for the past 10 years. Doug Peterson, next. You never know. You never know. Miguel says, Big O was right. Wonder what the guests say now. Well, Omar was already on. I've gone back and forth with Poupart already. Big D says, told people over and over that Big O knows football. I don't know about that, but we got this one right. You know, what can I tell you? The sun shines on every dog's ass every once in a while. Big O, I can't believe people on Twitter, they're really mad Flo got fired because they don't get it, bro. They're prisoners of the moment. They don't see the big picture. They don't see the obvious things that have gone on. That's really the problem. That's all. It's not anything else. It's just people aren't willing to see the obvious right in front of them. And so then that's what causes the issue for some. You know what I mean? It's a shame, but that's all right. We'll get through it. I'm not worried about it. Chris L says, just because I didn't like Flores doesn't mean anyone could have predicted Flores' firing. That's true. Flo wasn't the only problem. Nivon says, I didn't think he was average, especially winning 19 games in 2 years, but there were issues. Not happy or sad with the firing, more like disappointed. I can understand that because you still don't know where you stand as a fan. So that's very understandable, my friend. Now you're frustrated because until they fix the problem, you don't know if they fix this problem, right? I may be happy that Flo is fired, but obviously you still have to hire the next coach that then figures it out. And I'll give you an example in town how things changed. The Florida Panthers. Dale Talon got stale, and it was time to make a change. And so what happens? Well, in comes Bill Zito. And the ownership made a really tough decision because Dale Talon is highly respected, did an amazing job in Chicago, and early on picked some pretty good players for the Panthers, obviously. But it was time. It was time to make a change. And then they brought in the right guy in Bill Zito, and Bill Zito has had the magic touch with this team and all the pieces that he's added. The toughness, the defense, you know what I mean? Then some of the offensive players like Duclair from the other night, obviously, he's such a clutch player. God, man, Duclair's awesome. So it can be done. And I think the Dolphins actually have a pretty decent roster. I really do. And I think they could have had a better roster if it wasn't for Flo. I think Flo set them back. I think Flo's the reason why you didn't make the playoffs, to be quite honest. So now you've got to go find the coach, just like the Panthers found the right GM. And then the Panthers had to scramble and name an interim head coach too, and things have gone well. So it is possible. So let's not be completely negative for some of you out there. I'm going to look at this as a positive. I'm going to look at this like it's not the same old Dolphins. I'm going to look at it like the Dolphins made the tough decision, but they made the right decision. So the question is, where do you go from here? And as we mentioned earlier, all this does is put more pressure on the front office now. Now they've got to get it right because their ass is on the line. Now their ass is going to be on the line next year if they brought back Flo. So now, but at least this way you're going to go down doing it your way. So we'll find out. But hey, listen, I feel all your frustrations. I feel it. I want the Dolphins to win as badly as all of you. I want them to figure it out like the Heat have figured it out for 25 years with Pat Riley. Like the Panthers have finally figured it out with Bill Zito. So yes, I want them to figure it out. I'm with you there. I'm frustrated just like you are. But I view this as a really good move for the Miami Dolphins overall. And I understand that a lot of you are going to have to be convinced about it. That's all. It's the way it goes. Jonathan Dill says, Big O, please, no more coordinators and assistants. I want a proven coach with a track record. Gase, Philbin, and Sperano came from that tree and failed. I agree. I've been saying that for weeks now. Christopher Dunkley says, Dolphins should go after Brian Dable, OC, Dolphins OC, and to his former OC, if not Bieniemy. Yeah, I don't want any of that. I don't want the unproven head coach again. I'm kind of tired of that one already. Kid Meathead says we have to find the right GM. We need an owner who knows about football, period. David Triana, one thing I don't hear people talking about, if Watson were to come here, does anyone think he and the city of Miami is a smart decision? I fear we would have had the issues the Raiders are having in Las Vegas. Juice F5, some love on the super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, Big O, you are literally the last extension of good old days of radio for me. Neil Rogers, Goldberg, Ed Kaplan, Joe Rose, etc. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. And sucks we're going to lose Joe this year as he retires. It's probably right after the Super Bowl is when he's going to retire, I bet. Big O was right about Flo. Now I want to see good coaches and watch Tua light it up. After a rest this offseason, he'll be ready, and no more if Flo's crap. Exactly. I'm with you there, sir. Martin Leiden across the pond says, what I like about that, it's quick and forthright. They know what they want to do going forward already. Afternoon, pal. You're spot on. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. All right. We have a new schedule now. Okay. So normally Omar will join us on Mondays. Next week, Ira will move to Mondays. So it's going to be a strong Monday with Ira Winderman, with Omar Kelly, and with this gentleman who is next. And that is Joe Shad and the American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins fans, buckle up. It's time for the American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins Report with Joe Shad. When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. Call them at 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. Here's Joe Shad with today's edition of the American Dream Lending Report.
He is. Appreciate all of you out there. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button, man. All right. So Joe will join us now every week on Mondays. I sent out the schedule. What is it? Monday and what?
And Wednesday.
And Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesdays, Joe will be with us. All right, Joe. As you know, I am not shocked at all with this decision. I was kind of hoping that this was going to be the decision at the end of the season. Talk to me. How shocked are you? What have you been able to unearth?
Yeah, Big O, you were on it. I got to give you credit. You were absolutely right about the tension behind the scenes between Brian Flores, Chris Greer, and other members of the Dolphins organization. You were right on the money, Big O. And Chris Greer wins a power struggle with Brian Flores. I didn't know this was coming. On the surface, it's not easy to fire a coach who goes 8-1 down the stretch, who sweeps Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, who posts winning seasons in consecutive seasons for the first time in nearly 2 decades. It was clear in listening to owner Stephen Ross that this decision was not about that. It was not about statistics. It was not about wins. It was about people, and it was about relationships. And I think the thing here that we have to think about, the lesson that's learned, is that even professional football is a people business. Even professional football. Brian Flores always thought that he could do or say whatever he wanted as long as the production was there, as long as the team had more wins than losses, as long as the program was headed in the right direction. But actually, he was wrong. In the end, he was let go, not because his defensive schemes weren't good. They were. Not because he didn't reduce the number of Dolphins penalties. He did. It was because he didn't have good interpersonal relationships, and he did not have strong interpersonal skills.
Yeah, it was the Adam Gase, Randy Shannon. I know when you were in college, covering college, I think Shannon was the UM coach, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that during your run? And he had those issues also, that he just had problems getting along with people, and that was the problem here, that his issues kept getting in the way of some of the decisions. And Joe, this is where I would my suggestion to Chris Greer, and the Dolphins have made this mistake several times now, and they've got to stop making this mistake. The next coach cannot have power of personnel. The next coach coaches the team, period. That's it. End of story. Let the personnel department handle the personnel. The coach can have a suggestion, but what they gave Gase and what they gave Flo, I thought was a mistake. And with Philbin, he didn't have the same kind of power, but he would come in every week practically and complain about a player, because I know for sure, for a fact, that he was a whiny little bitch, constantly walking in there because he had a problem with personalities. And so for me, I think whoever they hire next, it cannot be a person that you add another chef in the kitchen, in other words. You know what I mean? You've got your kitchen. We'll give you the ingredients. You go cook.
All right, now listen, from a media perspective, and I have no ill will towards Brian Flores as a person or his family. He might very well go on to a strong head coaching career elsewhere. From a media perspective, this is a little bit of relief, because Flores was very difficult to deal with.
Oh, that's right. That's right, actually, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
And now I'm glad that Jim Harbaugh is not coming, because he's also very difficult to deal with.
Yes.
I always thought that if Flores was not transparent with us and combative and almost belittling, what was he like behind the scenes? And I'm told that at times he could be unkind.
Yes.
And that now, but here's what I want to do. I want to juxtapose that with this. That doesn't necessarily mean this was the right decision. I think
You're right.
Flores is a good coach. So I have some concerns about the decision to keep Chris, who I like and respect as a person and who had a strong most recent draft class. The Dolphins have this tendency to keep one, get the other, although Greer is a survivor. I mean, he's been around for so long, 2000, I believe, and the Dolphins organization hasn't had much success since he joined the organization. There just hasn't been enough success.
There wasn't any success before him either. Let's not create, and he wasn't in charge. Dude, he's not telling Wannstedt what to do, or Parcells what to do, or Saban what to do. We got to stop with that. He was just a guy writing scouting reports behind the scenes, and all his scouting reports are on hard drives, and they all get to read them. So if the new GM sees it and reads it, and they're good, you stay. If they're bad, you're gone. So if he survived all these guys, it must have been good. But he made a mistake with the coach, and now, to piggyback on your point, all Chris Greer did now was actually put even more pressure on himself, because now there are no more fingers to point. He has to get the coach right, because if he doesn't get the coach right, then everybody goes.
So that's interesting that you're portraying the Flores hire as Greer's decision. I've never thought of it that way. I always thought it was the owner's decision.
No, it's Chris Greer.
It's
Chris Greer getting the approval from the look. It's Chris Greer going, hey, I can't work with this guy anymore. He's an asshole. He goes against everything we do. He doesn't like Tua. He forces me to cut players. He changes decisions constantly. He can't build a staff. Steven, we cannot build a team with this man. I've got to get another head coach. Okay. All right, Chris. I'm aware of all the problems. You've kept me in tune with all these problems over the last couple of years. Let's make the change. But now it falls on you, Chris. You made a mistake the first go around with Flo. You got to get it right this time. That's
I always thought of it as Greer endorsing the hire of Flores.
Nope.
Listen.
Nope.
Stephen Ross said today that the decision on whether to pursue Deshaun Watson will be the decision of the next coach, and obviously Chris Greer. I think that's a little,
wait a minute. Hold on.
The owner has a real big say in who the next head coach is and whether or not the organization.
I think I clearly told you when you've been on with me, just like Omar and maybe Alan. I clearly told you that not everybody wanted Watson in the building. That's the part that people keep missing on. The chase for Watson was coming from one person mainly, the guy that hated Tua, the guy that never wanted to draft Tua.
I think Chris Greer is a very straight shooter and an honest guy. And I think when he says that the Dolphins pursued Deshaun Watson because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league and one of the best players in the league, that he believes that Chris Greer is being honest when he said that.
Sure.
Right.
And
so why wouldn't we think that they'll engage on him again? Listen, Flo has been right. He's been wrong. Maybe he's right about Tua. I think he probably is.
Maybe. That's the beauty of all of this now. Time's going to answer everything. We've hit the fork in the road now. Okay? So now you made your decision. The scapegoat is Flo. He's the problem. Okay? You've done that. All right. So that means now you made the right pick at quarterback. You made a lot of the right picks. That's the way you feel, right? Okay, now go make the right pick for the coach and show me that all these pieces are going to work together.
I like Chris Greer as a person very much, even though he doesn't really talk to anybody in the media. He might talk to you if you guys have a texting or calling relationship.
I would love to have an in with Chris, but no, unfortunately, but that would be nice. It'd be really nice.
But just to play devil's advocate here for a minute, which is the role that we play in our discussions, how does he survive taking Tua over Herbert? I mean, you believe that was his call, right?
Yes. I do believe it was his call.
It's a tough call, man. It's a hard one to overcome. I mean, I was thinking of you last night, Big O. I was watching Justin Herbert, and I tweeted about how watching him is thrilling and exhilarating and inspirational. And I was wrong because I thought the call was Tua over Herbert. So I'm going to sit here, take it like a man, admit that I was wrong.
Why?
I'm assuming that Chris Greer would admit that, yes, he was wrong.
No.
No?
No. They've done a piss poor job of building around the kid. That's all it is, dude. Does he have a tackle like they drafted this year in with the Chargers? I mean, I know Waddle's good, but he's not Keenan Allen, and they don't have a Jackson either opposite of him. And their coaching staff is clearly better. So when you get a better coaching staff and you get a better offensive line, because Flo didn't want Eric Flowers. So I tell you, Eric Flowers or Austin Jackson, a left guard. These are things that went on the team that he destroyed, dude. This guy didn't even know how to use Mike Gesicki on the damn team. He has him on the field, half the time. I think a lot of us are prisoners of the moment, and you're caught up in it, and you're disappointed.
Prisoner of the moment
because you're watching fantasy
Justin
stats.
Herbert,
yes, he
looks
looks
like
fantastic.
a young Dan Marino,
and he
I
won
was
9.
wrong.
And
This
he won
guy
9
is
games.
a superstar.
I get what you're saying. Athletically, he's fantastic. He won 9 games, just like Miami did.
If Justin Herbert was a Dolphin, and I admit, I said take Tua, I think I was wrong. If Justin Herbert was a Dolphin, they would absolutely be in the playoffs, and they'd probably, in my opinion, be a top 3 or 4 seed.
They have no running game and no offensive line. How in the F do you think they're going to be in the playoffs? What are you smoking, dude?
We can't underestimate the importance.
So wait a minute. So he
position.
can't get a better team in the playoffs, but you expect him to get a lesser team in the playoffs.
Well,
how does that make any sense?
Defense isn't very good.
Oh, wait a minute. And one more thing, they also have to deal with 2 pretty good teams also in this division too. You know what I'm saying? So it also becomes a challenge for them. But I mean, give me a break, dude. Come on. You expect Justin Herbert last night, if he doesn't take the sack, they might win the game. If he doesn't throw the interception, they might win the game. But if Tua does,
are you suggesting that Justin Herbert was anything short of phenomenal yesterday?
No, phenomenal would have been if he doesn't take the sack and doesn't throw the interception. He played really well last night.
Orlando, I like you. I like you, and I respect you, but I think that sometimes we all have a tendency, especially you, to get dug in on one belief and not want to kind of say, you know what? Maybe my opinion is changed. Let me ask you this. From the moment Tua Tagovailoa was drafted, in what ways has your opinion of what he is and may be changed?
0. 0.
Oh, man. God bless you. God bless you for your consistency of messaging.
0.
Flo would be proud.
0.
And that's just ridiculous.
Because if I put him with Sean Payton, they're in the playoffs.
Well,
because
you know what? Everyone thought if Adam Gase
Sean
went
Payton
somewhere,
would understand how to
everyone
use
thinks
him.
if Brian Flores goes somewhere, he'd be great. Anywhere but Miami. Not everyone who leaves the Dolphins goes on to great.
Let's just go over history. Not one head coach that's ever left Miami has ever done anything ever again. Okay? So let's just get over that already. Okay? Brian Flores will be just like Adam Gase and Joe Philbin and Dave Wanstead and everybody else, and God rest in peace, Sperano, everyone else that's ever been here for the last 25 years. Okay? None of them did jack crap after they left. All the personnel people have actually gone on to have success. All right, up until Rick Spielman got fired today, but he did a really good job. He did a really good job in Minnesota. He just couldn't finish the quarterback. That was the one thing he couldn't get over the top. But he built some good offenses and defenses.
I mean,
Jeff
Kirk
Ireland has been
Cousins
a
has
monster.
been more productive than Tua Tagovailoa.
Who?
Kirk Cousins has been more productive as a professional quarterback in the NFL than Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah,
Would
you're
you
right.
agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. But does he have Cook at running back? Does he have that offensive line? I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Where's Stephon Diggs? Oh, I'm sorry, I must have missed all those things. I love how you guys use these comparisons.
Wait a second, Jalen Waddle.
It's just like what you just did with Herbert. You think Herbert would get a lesser team like Miami in the playoffs, but he has a better team with the Chargers, and he couldn't get them in the playoffs. And I know he played terrific yesterday, but you can't say phenomenal. Phenomenal, you don't take the sack. Phenomenal, you don't throw the interception.
Who took a worse sack yesterday than Tua Tagovailoa right before halftime?
It was terrible. It's terrible.
Listen,
terrible
listen.
Terrible
I'm gonna for 2022.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask of you not to be Colin Cowherd, where you go back and forth wildly from black to white. Just try to be a little flexible, a little malleable, a little unformed, a little open-minded to maybe your opinion shifting a little bit left or right.
You mean like when I liked Flo for 2 years and then this year I said no? You mean like when I liked Dale Talon and then I said before everybody else fire Dale Talon and then they finally fired Dale Talon?
So at a certain point you're open to admitting that Tua wasn't the guy. You're just not there yet, but you are open to it.
Where I'm different than most everybody is I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I give things some time to actually develop to see if they really are what they are. And where you and I philosophically are different on Tua is you look at him as a failure. I look at him like Drew Brees.
Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say he's a failure. I said that to this point, he has unfortunately not provided the evidence that he can be not only an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes.
Did you really expect him to be that?
Not showing the evidence to this point that he can be a Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
He's not built like those guys. He's built like Bob Greasy and Drew Brees. That's your problem. That's where you have failed completely. You're assessing a player that doesn't have the physical capabilities to do those kind of things. You have to assess him like you assess Drew Brees, and you have to assess him like even a Chad Pennington is the same thing. He's just a little taller, but he was a guy that didn't have great arm, but he had accuracy. He's like Bob Greasy, bro. These are the kind of players that Tua is. To think that Tua is going to be Mahomes, that's unfair to him, dude. To think that he's going to be Josh Allen, he doesn't have those physical traits. And to expect that, Joe, then he's going to be always a failure in your eyes.
Giants announced the retirement of GM Dave Gettleman.
Well, that's hey, either you.
So I guess that means Joe Judge stays. Another Belichickian who's struggling. I don't know. Will Josh McDaniels survive? I thought it was interesting. Brian Flores in the postgame last night talked about how he's learned things about himself. I think he knew. Everything that Brian Flores does is intentional. There are no mistakes.
You're doing a segment I already did.
Oh, okay.
He knew he was shit canned right there and then. He knew he was done.
I think he knew that there was going to be a conversation.
No. He knew he was done. And it was like his last plea. Did you see how he said bye to Belichick on the field? It was like a little bit of a hug. Hey, remember me? I worked for you. I'm going to need a job soon.
Listen.
All right. So
it's a shame. It is. This didn't work because Brian Flores is an intelligent individual. He has discipline. He has structure. I didn't like that they were secretive and paranoid, but it is true that they were not a clown show like Jacksonville. I would rather have
we lost to him under the big top.
I would rather have secretive and paranoid than a clown show. Yeah. The fear here is let's hope the next guy the Dolphins hire is not a clown show. I don't know who it's going to be. And probably an offensive-minded guy, Probably someone who's been a head coach at some point in their life. That's my guess.
Oh, so that was where we're going to wrap it up with.
I don't know who, but
I've been saying hire a Jim Caldwell, Jack Del Rio type, older coach that's been around the block and that can build staffs blindfolded left and right.
Yeah, Doug Peterson.
A guy that will hire real competent coaches and delegate authority and not have the ego that he has to coach every position. Okay. By the way, Wannstedt was like that down the stretch of his run, that he was so paranoid. He was walking into different rooms. He walked into Mike Westhoff's room one day and he said, all right, guys, we need you to do this, and that, and that. And then he walks out the door. And then Westhoff looks at everybody and says, if any of you mother effers do anything that guy said, I'm cutting your ass on the spot. You'll never play on my teams again. So
it's going to be interesting to hear the stories that come out.
Oh yeah. The stories
always come out at the Senior Bowl. You won't believe this time this happened, and then it'll come out. It's
Tony Wise, Wannstedt's best friend. He walks into the meeting room of all the coaches, and he starts drawing. Do you know this story?
No.
He starts drawing an island, right? And then he starts drawing some boats and then some waves. And Tony Wise was Wannstedt's best friend. Okay. So like he and when Wani were like this, and he came with him from his days in Chicago.
He passed away, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he looks at everybody and he says, ha, you guys are all on the U-boats. I'm hanging out in the island. Think about the balls that you have to have and what a king-size jerk you got to be, rest in peace, to actually tell everybody, hey, you guys are out on the water in the sea and I'm safe on the island. It's like, that's what used to go on behind the scenes at times. So, yeah, I've got
one thing I'll remember about Brian Flores, I remember I pushed him I didn't push him very often, but I remember I pushed him on Josh Rosen. I was just flabbergasted. I say, I don't understand. You have this 23-year-old, you gave him up the draft picks. The season's over, 2019. They might have had Joe Burrow if they hadn't, stuck with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Why? Help me understand how you're playing this 34-year-old, whatever he was, over a 23-year-old. Why not just get a look at this guy? Let's see what you got. All right.
Right.
And he basically said, Joe, you're not in the trenches. And I was like, oh, crap. Wow. I'm not in the trenches. He belittled me. He could do that.
Yeah.
But his point was, you don't understand what I understand. And of course,
you don't see what I'm seeing. Exactly.
He should know more than me. But in that moment, he had a way of making you feel small at times. And I'm not the only guy who felt that way.
By the way, don't forget to smash the like button and follow my man here, Joe Shad, on Twitter at ShadJoe. More importantly, folks, let's do the responsible thing here as great sports fans that we are all around the world. Let's subscribe to the Palm Beach Post.
Read the column I posted. It was that this wasn't about X's and O's. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was about people and relationships and Brian Flores' lack of interpersonal skills. Check it out on the Palm Beach Post.
Yeah, and make sure you just call it the Randy Shannon disease. And then you'll be all right. Then we can all relate to it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's hope they get the next hire right, bud.
It's up to Chris Greer now. That he's put all the weight of the world on him now. He has to nail it. He has to hit it out of the park. But he's got the experience now of making that first mistake. He won't get more than one more. So we'll see. All right. Follow him on Twitter, folks, like I do and many others, at ShadJoe. Joe, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
See you, bud.
You got it. There you go. Joe Shad and the American Dream Lending.com Miami Dolphins report.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today. 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com.
By the way, thanks to Sean Campbell. Appreciate you as always, man. Strong support of the show, giving us some love on the Cash App. Jerry Claren also giving us some love on the Cash App. He says, for you called it with Brian Flores. Thank you, sir. Ray Grullon, as always, hardcore to the end. Love on Cash App. He says, for national media is leaking out Flo's ego, LOL. Yeah, they're all leaking out the stuff that I've been talking about for a couple of months. and it's funny because I told you, I said, don't worry, all of this will eventually all come out, and it'll all come out that he's, acting like a king jerk in the building and all that good stuff. Jose Lucas, thank you for a little love on the super chat. He says Herbert couldn't even make it with a better team. Yeah, that part with Joe, I'm not riding with him on that one. That if he was here, they're in the playoffs. No. He might be injured if he's here. I don't know if he can avoid all the sacks and all the pressures that they have here compared to over there. He has no running game here. He doesn't have those two receivers. Are you kidding me? I found that funny, dude. I mean, come on. He doesn't have good coaching either here. They wouldn't even know what to do with the guy. Look, Justin Herbert might be a terrific quarterback, okay? But I need to see over time that he can actually win in big moments. Matt Stafford puts up all kinds of yards and all kinds of points, and I've never been a Matt Stafford guy. And when they added him to the Rams, I was still like, and look now, they're all learning. Oh, wait a minute, we forgot. He's Matt Stafford. So pump the brakes. I get it. He's super gifted, man. He moves around. He throws, all that stuff. He won 9 games just like the Dolphins. And the Dolphins have a shitload of problems. And the Chargers don't. It's amazing. Junior Ronaldo, thank you. Some love on the super chat. He says Flo got outcoached by Urban Meyer this year. That's right. Once you get outcoached by Stanky Fingers, you can't keep your job. I mean, that's just the way it is, Whose fault is it that Tua has no receivers or a running game? I think Greer can't have it both ways. No, you're right about that. And they're going to have to fix that issue. The question is, how much meddling was the other guy doing? Because he was doing a lot of meddling. And that part I don't know about the receiver part. I know about the offensive line. I know about Fitz. I know about Gailey. I know about specific issues that he had and screwed the team over. Don't know about the receivers. That might be on the front office. Not sure. But they cannot rely on injured receivers anymore. Okay? But then again, he would, up until, the last month that he finally got smart. You remember Matt Collins kept making plays, and then he came back and brought Preston Williams back, and he got injured in the back of the end zone. Then that was like the final straw. Finally, he dropped the ball and then got kind of banged up in the back of the end zone. Then he kind of disappeared finally. And you wonder, like, okay, so Matt keeps making plays, but you keep playing Preston Williams. And I'm wondering, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And I like what Durham Smythe has done and how he's developed, but he's not Mike Gesicki. And yet Mike Gesicki's on the sidelines. So there's a lot of things that go on that are so effed up that it's hard to read. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that aren't Greer or Tua fans, this is the best thing that can happen for you. Do you know why? Because now the pressure's all on them. So if they don't fix the issue, you'll get your wish now. Okay, I got my wish. Flo is gone, right? We'll see next year. I hope you're wrong because I don't want anybody to go. Joe Shad had the best line of it all right there in that interview when he said, the real shame is that this didn't work out. And that's the truth, because in the end, every one of us around the world, every one of us, it doesn't matter if you're Martin out in London. I don't care if I forgot my buddy out in New Zealand, his name out there. It doesn't matter if you're JG out in Malaysia. It doesn't matter where you are as a Miami Dolphins fan. We all want him to win. We all want him to get it right. We all want Flo to be the coach. So whoever's the next coach, we want that person to succeed. We wanted Adam Gase to succeed. We wanted Tony Sperano to succeed. You know what I mean? But, okay, it is what it is. Now, the line in the sand has been drawn. That's it. Flo was the problem, right? Okay, so now let's fix it. Let's get the head coach, and let's get the team moving in the right direction. If it's not moving in the right direction, then the other changes that you guys want, some of you guys want, will end up happening. Michael Moorhead, Big O, if the GOAT wins again this year, he has to go out on top. He'll need a new challenge in life. Anyway, he gets the Michigan job, alma mater. Michael, thank you for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you, sir. Very nice. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? You guys have been so giving today. Thank you. Junior Ronolo again says Big O called it on Flo. Now Tua has that weight off his shoulders. It will give Tua a third year. He has to show major improvement. Greer will get him help. Yeah, I think so. I think they're not going to trade for Watson now at all. You won't see those conversations anymore. This was Flo pressuring everybody. I think now they'll move forward with their money and their picks, and they will build up that line. You go get yourself at least 2 experienced offensive linemen to help out this line. Some of the young guys will become backups and maybe good backups for you. You get a really good offensive line coach to get this thing going and an offensive coordinator that understands what he needs to do. And let's move forward. Flo lost the locker room. No, it's not a matter of losing the locker room. Flo lost the franchise. He was not a communicator. Okay? Big O, who do you think made the decisions to move up and down, then back up again in the 2001 draft, Flo or Greer? That was Greer. I'm sure it was Greer. I love how people will give Herbert a pass because Chargers D is bad, but Tua gets no pass because his whole offense is bad. And coaches, Walter. Okay? He's got shit coaches on offense. Let's just call it like we see it. All right? These are terrible coaches. All right? Okay, I think I've got to wrap it up here on the show. Got to take care of the voice. We had a late one yesterday. Plus, I was up late. So got to rest the voice a little bit. I'm gonna do a show with Doug Lee, so that will be classic for tomorrow coming out. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. rocking and rolling. Appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you for keeping it locked here. I got to thank, of course, my man Sean Stanley, who does an excellent job of putting everything together here on a daily basis. Can't do it without him. I can't do things alone. I need you to smash the like button, to visit our sponsors, to hit the subscribe button, all that. I need Sean to put this magic together. We need great sponsors to obviously put it all together so we can make a living and do all of these things and bring you the information that nobody else in town can do. Okay? Nobody else in town. Nobody on 560 had any inkling that this was going to go on because they're not in tune, because they have no insight whatsoever on that team. We do on this show. We have insight on the team. We have a great feel for what goes on that team. We've had a great feel for what goes on that team for over 30 years now, you know? And so appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you. We may not agree at times, but you can bet your life we all want the same thing. We want the Dolphins, the Heat, the Marlins, the Panthers, the Canes, Inter Miami, FIU, FAU. We want them all to succeed because I'm a hometown guy and that's all I want. But we're always going to call it like we see it. So thank you all out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Please smash the like button before you get out of there. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. Love you all.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.